Alrighty, so last time, as you all recall, you made your way through the dungeon, found goodies, and eventually found the source of the music that's been permeating this place in the form of some corrupted mechanical violinist. Unfortunately, they seem to have gone somewhat quiet since your arrival. And just for the reminder, I'll pull up a quick picture and give a show everyone what that one looks like. A nice picture based off a nice YouTube video based off a wicked piece of music. I put the references all over last week's D&D video stream so people can see if you actually want to go listen to that violin stuff. They do a really good mix. I use the same picture for it too because partially it's a nod and a reference out to that one, but it actually fit the idea I was going for perfectly, so it's like, sweet. So, you now find yourself standing in front of the inert machine that was making music. Nimbar, meanwhile, mutters, both him and his simulacrum, rubbing their temples after the music finished like, oh my god, I think that just gave me a migraine. No offense to Bellamy, who says, oh, none taken. He goes, it's just the back and forth. It was hard for me to listen, and the reverb was really bad right where I'm standing. And she nods, says, yeah, the acoustics would be horrible where you're standing. Those would drive you definitely. Oh, I'm so sorry, bud. He goes, it's all good. It was wonderful music, my child. Wonderful. Because I think that he'd say my child, you know. This is an excuse
for... That is one of his favorites.
Love it so much. It's the perfect line. Which gives a reason as to why Nimbar won't be very active overall today, sort of following and responding, you know, since his player's not online today. Moderate headache. It'll go away by the time he returns. As for Courtney, her character right now is just staring at that violin like last week, like, I think it's pretty. However...
Well, I think if we know Bellamy at all, she's probably not just staring at it. She's probably...
Yeah!
You see the Indiana Jones thing where he's like looking at something he's about to take off a pedestal and weighing a bag in the other hand?
Yeah.
Well, right now Bellamy's pulling out a really crappy rapier, right? And she's looking at the one in the offhand that's held down at the side. Because, as mentioned, the arms on the violinist both went limp to its side, one holding the violin, one holding what looked like a rapier mixed with a bow. Oh, tell me the music did not just cut after... Oh no, it's still looping good. Whew, I was gonna be sad. I was like, no, they fixed that. She's rubbing her chin while spinning her rapier in one hand and looking at the other one with her other hand. Like, you can tell she's balancing it. Unfortunately, the DM doesn't make any direct action, so you know. But she's balancing it, looking at the party like, oh yeah. I hesitate, though, because she's standing directly beside Jade.
Child of Chaos and the Child of Curiosity side by side. What could happen?
We could steal all the stuff and then she could convince him that I didn't steal nothing.
That is very true.
It sounds about right. What happens?
The only thing that has been bugging me since last week is when he went limp, he said, Mobius has fallen.
He said what, sorry?
Mobius has fallen.
Mobius has fallen.
Yes.
Well, not quite. It was Mobius not found. Close though.
Mobius is not found. Mobius has fallen is the next in the Gerald Butler film series of Olympus has fallen, London has fallen.
I'll pop that one in the chat over there, just so there's a listing of it. But the only words that come from him before his arms went limp echoed from behind that ivory mask, sitting upon his head.
Does anyone know who or what a Mobius is?
Bellamy looks back, shakes
Do you
her
think
head.
this is
Had it once, but I got pills for it. I'm okay now. Really bad for
Do you
the
think
back.
that's where we are? Like, do you think that's the name of this estate? Or what this used to be?
Well, we think this is Blackrock. So you mean like Castle Blackrock was in?
I wonder if that's his actual master.
Oh, it could be. Gonna say, I wonder if it's like a name from history, but Alec has +1 to history. He doesn't know that.
I have a plus quite a lot to history if I can roll.
Oh yeah, you're always more than welcome to make a knowledge history check on that name.
Wonder if it's a cousin of Mavris.
Oh, that did not go through the VTT. It said 25, but it didn't go through to the VTT, so I don't know if you've capped that.
I'm usually pretty flexible. Double check to make sure you're connected to the thing. Is it a total 25?
Total 25. I rolled a 14 plus 11.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know you can't roll a 25 on a dice. Like,
Oh, yeah.
physically impossible goes to 20. But just in case there were other add-ons not being counted.
Yep. No, that's the final number produced by the VTT. I rolled a 14, so.
The only time the name comes up in any story, geez, Jade pulls a 26. He can also verify this as well. If anybody else wants to roll, by all means, feel free. You know what? I'm gonna roll it for Bellamy just because I'm sure she would if she was here. Even if she's not bloody here, she still rolls high. What is this?
God damn.
Oh, did everybody see my red die when I rolled for her?
No, I didn't. No.
Darn, so DM dice are blocked then. I see player dice. I see my dice, but I don't think anyone sees my dice. Which is probably just a safety concern, or it could be due to some of the things I've added for making it so people can't see my rolls. I digress. So with a 25, well, the 21, Bellamy's sort of picking it, but it's not high enough a roll. A 25, however, for you both, you got those. You find yourselves pausing for a brief minute as you think back on your stories and on what you've heard and on your tales. The only time the name Mobius has ever come up in anything any of you remember is a cautionary tale. It's one about a city or a kingdom or something of the sort, where the ruling party became corrupt. The lead knight stood against their king, with the people on their side. And unfortunately, after they dethroned the king, the cautionary tale goes on to state that the king worked his spies into the land because his life was spared. Ultimately, it's unsure what actually happened, but the moral of the story is you shouldn't trust a disposed leader, you should simply execute them. But any more info on the tale isn't very well known. The character of Mobius was referenced as a representative from another kingdom in said tale. However, the tale of the Land of Broken Dreams was originally just that, a made-up story.
Do you guys think that this knight could be Negadusty and us?
I mean, I don't think Negadusty would leave anyone alive.
If we wanted to build an army. And the people were behind him? Oh, you mean they left the king alive?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean-
They left the king alive, who then plotted against the kingdom, becoming a snake, a sheep in wolf's clothing, so to speak. Ultimately,
Right.
it is rumored that betrayal led to some of the destruction of the kingdom itself, and the fall of the kingdom, commonly referred to as the Land of Broken Dreams. But it was, originally, like a folklore, children's tale, something you'd say is an offhand warning, you know? It's kind of like finding someone with the name Ebenezer Scrooge. You all went quiet, right? Like my system didn't just cut out or something.
Yeah, we're all just quiet.
Perfect.
I'm
No
just
worries.
writing down the details of that.
DM's like, here's some plot stuff. The players are like, hang on.
Need to fill up another notebook. So Mavius was a representative from another land. So yeah, maybe you're right, Jillian / Flux, that is his master or his companion. Does this this figure, does he look like the Warforged we've seen previously, or does he seem purely mechanical?
Once you're up nice and close, go ahead and give a perception check. You're not actually physically touching him, interacting, or moving him, so it's not investigation. But it'd be a perception check as you try to peer and all that stuff. Meanwhile, while you're presently crouched on the ground looking like a young Tiger Woods playing golf, Bellamy's looking at you funny like, y'all right there.
I'll give myself guidance if that's okay.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
With a 20 on your perception check total, plus 13 on that, goddamn, and then another 3 makes it a 23. As you scan over the body, peering at elbows, shoulders, knees, back of knees, hip joints, all that, you find no sign of flesh, of the typical bits or pieces of Warforged either. No sinew of bone and stone and wood. None. You see nothing but clockwork mechanics within this thing. It appears to be 100% wholly mechanical in its design. And the clockwork goes well beyond anything you've seen in your days. Even the automatons that are held at Waterdeep during such lofty festivals that they run would not compare to the complexity of this mechanical being who set before you.
Interesting.
This is the only thing I can think of that Modron might have been interested in.
It's a shame that we don't have an artificer with us, because this would be an artificer's dream.
For those curious, the thing I was referencing from Waterdeep is Nimblewright. I put a picture of it up in the chat. Hopefully it went there. I'll throw it on Discord as well.
Yeah, I see it in chat.
Awesome.
Oh, it's a very swashbuckling robot.
Usually the design that they carry. For poor Alec, this might be the antithesis to life. Mechanical life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean... Not happy, but also not the worst thing I've seen down here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Bellamy gives a nod and she looks with a smile, says, "You're right," as she points her newfound rapier with string on the other side towards Alec. "This one didn't try and kill us." And
exactly. Oh my god, you've already got it.
She's like, "Yeah, look at this thing." She swapped rapiers with the one in the mechanical man's hand. However, at the hand, she couldn't get it to close back, and you quickly notice her rapier falls from his hand to the floor with a clatter. And I'm not actually 100% if Bellamy has a rapier. I think she does. Just in her toolkit, that is. If not, I know the party must.
She had some kind of...
Oh yeah, the 9 live stealer rapier. Never mind, she wouldn't be giving that up. She'd be picking it back up like, "Oh ha, I get to keep both of them. This is nice. You ever dual wield rapiers?" And she gives a laugh. Then starts rubbing her jaw. She looks at the violin. Then looks towards Jade and looks at the violin. She goes, "I'm not sure I can get that without breaking the strings." And then looks toward Jade and looks at the violin. And then looks toward Jade and looks at the violin. This repeats, with the smile on her face growing wider in only Bellamy fashion, right?
Did you say last week that the violin looked as though it was charred or burned somehow?
Yep. It's actually designed like the one in the picture. I've decided, for fun style, that the top half of it is fairly well burnt and worn and cracked, presently smoldering somewhat, as if embers were inside the very wood and it was still charcoal on fire. Bellamy suggests grabbing it by the bottom. Because, you know, fire on top, that's probably bad.
Yeah. Maybe the violin was what prevented them from freezing up. Or I guess it could have been the force shield is far more likely, whatever that shield was. But you never know.
So Jade.
I'm just... Yeah. The gloves of thievery are not transferring over all the skill points they're supposed to give.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm gonna be right back real quick, sorry.
Oh, sure thing, Kieran. So Jade, I'll paint the picture for you while you're looking at the math and the mechanics. That there is a burning hot violin being held by the hand of that mechanical being in front of you. This violin looks pretty much like a log in a campfire. You know what I mean? It's scorched, it's burnt, the embers are crackling through it. You know if you pick it up with your bare hand, it'll probably burn you. At least on the top half, but grabbing the bottom half and yanking, well, at that point you've got torque arm, it'll tear the neck clear off the violin, maybe.
Oh, do we still have, or did Damocos take them, the Gordon Ramsay chef gloves that were... Because we should have used that to get that burning sword out of the door instead of just crispy spider legs. But that's besides the point. If he didn't have them on his character sheet, then that might help.
As far as I know, he took them.
Well, hello disappointment, my old friend.
Alex snaps his fingers. "Oh, we got this, Bellamy. We got oven mitts, and they're so powerful, and they can easily grab any flame that exists and just rip that thing right." Jade puts a hand on your shoulder. The monk. He goes, "Right, shit."
Yeah.
I like to play these moments up when an out-of-character realization comes up as an in-character realization, because it's just funny.
and accurate.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Jade keeping a log of all the stuff that gets gotten every time, even when he's not here, it'd be a little bit more of a complicated game for all of us, I will admit. Oh, I should also point out with Alex's very high perception check when he was examining the mechanical man, you noticed one of the most important things is that you didn't see any of these gears moving.
Right. I will share that with the rest of the party, which I'm fairly sure. Well, no, that would have been a silly thought to say out loud, so I'm not going to say it. Come on, Dean. don't tempt fate. Thrilling listening for the viewers, but no, you're not going to catch me like that.
Damn.
I guess to give you a pup date, well, Dan does some maths. He's currently running between the two rooms with the remnants of a beef pizzle that he's working away at.
Does anybody have any guesses as to what beef pizzle is?
John was here, he'd know.
Anybody? What?
Like, I know what a solid log of this stuff is, but what it's actually made out of? I did a Google and I hit image search and I quickly backed out.
Don't Google it. I was gonna have to tell you.
Yep, I see now. Okay, that's what I thought. I just didn't want to say it out loud.
I said to Dean, anytime that we go to get a replacement, now we're gonna have to say, okay, be right back, we're gonna go get the dog some dick.
Yep. Oh.
That's really unfortunate. You Google searched that. Oh man.
That's. You gotta feel bad for the bull at that point. It's like, what else are we gonna do with it at this point? Well, it's a dog chew toy.
Yeah. It's they're a lot tougher and harder to get through than these no hides, so it's actually keeps them occupied for a little bit at a time. But
oh god.
It was
he was sick for like 3 days after the last.
Oh, when he devoured that one last weekend?
Yeah.
Scarfed down, yeah.
Oh, poor puppy. Yeah, he did get sick. I remember that on you there, poor Julie, and you were like, oh no. At least the timing was.
I don't feel bad for him. He did it to himself.
Oh yeah. Oh, I felt bad for you.
Oh, thank you.
Not the dog. When it happens to the dog, you're like, oh, dumb dog. You get this for being a dumb dog, but I love you. Oh, my favorite moments are when your dog's a dumb dog. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that with an angry look on my face and a scowl, but a big, big, goofy grin like, oh, you silly, silly puppy. What did you do? Sadly, my cat does that a lot. One of my cats doesn't. The other one, she's not the smartest.
Yeah, be like that.
Okay, you said if I take it from the top, it doesn't break, but I risk taking fire damage. If I take it from the bottom, I risk breaking it.
Logically, looking at it, because it's being held by the top of the neck, right? I mean, you play guitar, so you know what that's like. Imagine if you put your guitar on a wall mount, right? Except the wall mount got stuck and grabbed your guitar, and you had to decide what to do. And for some reason, the top of your guitar is on fire, but it can't break because maybe you're a rocker from the 80s just after spinning it out hard, right? I'm stretching.
Oh, that's easy. Break the wall mount. Duh.
Yeah. Well, then, you could break the wall mount for this one, but it wouldn't be very polite. It's his hand, right?
Yeah.
That being said, you can clearly see from the picture His hand is already burnt and smoking and tearing apart. So it helps he's a machine, apparently. Shame about them cosmic governments. They're presently in nobody knows where space.
I'll just take the chance at fire damage and go from the top so I don't break it.
Alright. So when you grab onto it, go ahead and give me a con save to see if your character can hold on as he pries it out of the grasp of the violinist. Alright, and now give me a sleight of hand check. You also take 4 points of fire damage.
Is that reduced? Or do I reduce that for my fire resistance?
It'll be 2 when you reduce it, so you know. With a 27 on your sleight of hand.
Add 5 to that, so that's a 32.
With 32 on your sleight of hand, you have no problem sneaking it free from the hand of the Metal Man. In moments, you're holding on to the burning violin casually, before you know flipping down to the bottom of it. Even then, it still radiates with an intense, flaming heat. Lulu gives a bit of a speak up. Well, we could use that to light some fires on the way, so Nimba doesn't have to be shooting out spells. Maybe that's what's giving him the headache, hey? Ho
I'll hand it off to Bellamy.
She grabs it, casually looking it over. Has a pair of gloves on, though she's holding it by the bottom as she rubs her chin. Mutters something about the identify spell, but at the same time mutters something else about surprises and want to wait until more tentative and i.e. something fun for Courtney for next week.
Fair enough.
Unless the party wants to go through the process of identifying and figuring it out now, but where it's a violin with a rapier, she's pretty much the only person who's going to wield it besides Jade.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't think it's the only sort of thing that's popped in your collection so far. That's, well, no, you've identified it, things as you've gone and paused, so. But with that, you have acquired a mean-looking violin. The rapier functions as a standard rapier with a +3 bonus. But without identifying or attuning to it, you don't actually know the further details, the usual rules of magical items. Bellamy, however, pardon me, as a bard, as she's looking over this violin, is able to confirm that yes, it is one heck of a nice piece of hardware. She's not seen one designed quite so beautifully and quite so well done. The neck, despite the cracks and the flames, is still completely fine, playable, and usable. The strings show no damage, no wear, no tear, which is impossible. It's mind-numbingly amazing, this sort of thing. She can't wait to play it, essentially. But as she looks towards Jade's burnt hand, she gives a nod and she's like, my fingers are quite expensive. I do not want to lose them on a burnt neck.
Okay. Well, unless they want to try stealing this mechanical man's trousers as well, do we need to pick a direction to go? Or there was a couple of points I think of interest that we skipped by. There was a statue with a bowstring.
That's right here.
The
Yep,
bowstring,
and a
which has been obtained by the party.
Oh, it has. Right.
There's
Okay.
also a well over here, and another pathway leading off in this direction. And on top of that, there were a number of pathings up this way near the giant statue that knew your name.
Right.
And of course, then there was way, way, way to the right, the other direction to go on the map itself.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, due to the fact that we started a new map, the left side of the map is blank on all of your vision. But we could backtrack and clear that out.
Well, we were told this music was at the center of the maze, right?
Practically, yeah. So you know you're very much near the center of the maze right now. If I was to use like really strong degree of perfection for exact center, it's actually here.
Oh, okay. Well,
but that's you know, close enough.
Yeah.
You got the advice from a big stone statue, not an architect.
I can't believe you've done this to us, Alan. My immersion is shattered.
Oh, damn. Wait a second, your character wouldn't know anyway.
Is there any sort of like control device for this automaton?
Glancing around the room, the only thing you presently see in here is ice. Cold ice. And what I'm going to do to see if I can help out, I am going to grab a mini and I'm going to backtrack with it so we can fill out the map. Let's see, where is Not Nimbar? There we go. Not Nimbar is always a good one to use for this. I dropped him on the map and he didn't spawn. Come on. That's weird.
I see two Not Nimbar.
Because it just didn't work the first time. So, as I'm doing this, is all of your maps updating?
Mine is, yeah.
Perfect. Because I'm literally just going to backtrack my way to the front of the dungeon where you all came from. It's a little sparse on the far left, where you've already been. I may not have filled it all out exactly. So, just as you're planning, I'm going to go through and refill the map out so you can see where you've been and what you've done.
Okay, does anyone, should we check out that pool?
Yeah, we should see, because it seemed to be fresh water, it looked like, when we ran past. But there's also this back here and down here where your mirror's heading.
Yeah, it was, I was convinced there was going to be a boss fight, so I was just having hiding around some of the corners.
It was kind of looking that way, but you all found an amicable solution to that one. Like I said, I'm just walking around while you all do your planning.
Sure. Sorry, I was just talking to the dog there. It was just staring at me. Well, Alec will go look at the pool. If, just so people know where he's going. I'll queue up that, and we know that if we head right, then at least one of the right hand pathways will branch back round to the giant talking statue.
I will say, for where you've made it to that pool of water, as a very beautiful luminous pool shining softly giving off the smallest bit of glimmering light against the darkness. And yes, the water of that pool does in fact appear to be flowing smoothly and smells of fresh water.
Are we standing right beside it?
Oh yeah, you can walk right up to it.
Can I pull something out of my bag that would freeze instantly and stick it into the pool and see what happens? Like a piece of cloth or like some food or something?
Oh, by all means.
I will do that and see how long it takes to freeze in the water.
So when you put a piece of cloth down in the water, it doesn't freeze. However, the water soaks into the cloth as water would and leads its way upward slightly. As this happens, frost builds up around the edges of the cloth.
Outside of the water?
Yeah, outside the water, it seems to be freezing, which would make sense because touching with the air. You do notice as you're doing this, however, there is a slight current in the water as it's spinning around on the inside of the fountain. Small pieces of surface ice you can now see float along the pristine surface of the water. So logically, the only reason it's not freezing is because it's in motion.
Okay.
That's a broken piece of a dungeon way back here. No, mind me, I just noticed something needed repair while we're doing this.
Does it smell like fresh? Like, would it be potable?
You can give a quick survival check on that and see.
Will do.
With a 17 on survival, as you lean over, give a sniff to the water, and glance over it a few times, you find yourself giving a nod like it seems okay. You don't smell anything stagnant, and because of the fact that it's continually moving and seems to be continually supplied, it is in fact fresh. Though, I will say, because, keep in mind, Kieran, I'm mentioning this because usually you're on top immediately for this to mention that your staff, Tappy Tappy Magic Vision.
Yeah.
You mentioned you're a bit under the weather, so I wanted to just give the reminder in case there's anything wonky you wanted to do with that while they're working on that.
I mean, I can always just do a quick detect magic. It's, worth it. You know what I mean? It costs very little, and...
Oh, isn't it free from your staff, though?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't even have a cast time on it because it's not being ritual cast. The staff just allows me to cast it.
You get a free time.
Oh, yeah.
It drops. Nice and easy.
Yeah.
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And as you glance upon the water and the fountain that is producing it, you notice that the middle pillar of this fountain is what draws your attention of magical nature. It seems to be wrapped up in an aura of conjuration magic.
Oh. Okay. I'll point that out. Yeah, conjuration spell. The pillar in the middle. Nothing else that I see that's magic, just the pillar?
Just that pillar. And I will say, it is presently, you can tell, active as well. You think it has something to do with the nature of the water being continual.
Yeah, that would make sense then.
Like the pillar is continually conjuring the water. That's what's keeping it moving.
It would explain things, yeah.
Okay.
So for reference, for the staff, by the way, other things I can do infinitely are like light and mage hand, like Jer, whatever. But like protection from evil and good, grow, reduce, or enlarge, reduce person, or large, reduce rather, and arcane lock. So.
Bunch of nasty things.
Yeah, there's some really funny little things. The fact that I could do enlarge, reduce an infinite amount of times a day is interesting.
Oh yeah. And I have gone back over the map. Does everyone see the full path now leading back to the start?
See.
Yeah, you revealed. Yeah, you revealed everything. It looks like I have a nice wide view of the maze now.
Wonderful. So long as you can see where you've been and where you're going, so you can plan accordingly. Because there was a big chunk there on the far left that you'd already gone through that wasn't showing up anymore. And you might notice in certain areas, like over here on the map's a little sparse of decor. It's because you already went through it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, on that note, I almost forgot. The team had gone this way as well. We're just going to fill this out with the sword. I'll have to do this again as well for some players next week. So that their maps fill out as well, but...
Oh, yeah.
In our travels and our many treasure troves, have we ever found a goblet of some sorts? So I could use something like that to scoop some of the water out, see if anything happens.
I'm sure we have.
How many do you want?
Yeah.
I don't suppose this you found a really odd, just like dusty wooden goblet in a treasure trove somewhere that was just overlooked.
I probably wouldn't have taken it because it was, unless I detect magic on it. But where'd those go?
Oh, you fool! That was the most valuable goblet of all.
Is this two Indiana Jones references in one game?
Oh my word.
Maybe. Yeah, just Alec doesn't keep stuff like that on him, so I imagine we'd find even like an old helmet or something. We just scoop some of it out.
I have a water skin, I think. Whatever works best. I think Jade has more than enough for us.
Yeah. However, I do it. I will,
said.
even if it's just.
I have 8. I have 8 red crystal goblets.
So specific. I'll use one of them and give it a little scoop. Another sniff test, and I'll give it a little sip.
This might help. I threw up a quick screenshot of the maze thus far zoomed out for reference. And giving a little sniff test and a checker seems to be good.
Yeah.
I will say Lulu's gonna waddle up at one point and she's going to give a nod and say, well, you know, I'm feeling a little thirsty. I could give it a test for you. Water's a good thing. We don't find much of it.
Absolutely not. You're not the first one drinking that water, Lulu.
I feel bad that you're getting angry at someone having a little sip because I said I was going for a scoop, a sniff, and a sip.
Oh, I missed the sip part, and you see Alex looking at Lulu as Flux is going, you're not going to be the first one to test it. No, that's not he's already taken the sip like, nope, she's not. And it's exceptionally cold water, to the point that the bottle's starting to frost over, and it's freezing on your tongue, which in and of itself is in a way refreshing. but it doesn't seem to have any other adverse effects besides being really, really cold. You get maybe flashbacks to being a kid and scooping up water with your bare hands in the winter and taking a nice drink under the starry skies. Out in the middle of the woods as a druid, you know. No problem. Sort of get that flashback, except this water is way colder.
So I think it'll be fine. It's just very, very cold. Maybe not drink too much of it at once, because then you'll get that horrible brain freeze, you know, when you eat some crushed ice.
It'd be around that point Bellamy's walking up and she gives it a sage-like nod. She goes, I know exactly what this is for. Rummages through her bags as she goes, pulls out like 8 bottles of your various liquors, sets them in, and they float, and you see them slowly just moving around.
Oh my god, where did you find the bottle of Jägermeister?
She gives a shrug. She's like, I don't know, it was in this bag labeled Dusty's Good Stuff. That and these metal cans that claim they give wings, but I don't know. I got wings of flight, so I don't know if I need them, so. But Bellamy, using it as an alternate form, has turned it into a wine chiller for the moment. Pulls her bottles back out after a few. She's like, oh, these are freezing cold.
Okay. Is there any kind of drainage in this, or does it just seem to like rise up to the top and then kind of stop?
It hits the top level, but that's about it. Glancing at the fountain itself, you can tell it would have been considerably deep at one point in time, and Jade will probably have pointed out that under the frozen ice, near the very bottom of the fountain, because even deep inside the fountain does not seem immune to this effects, only the water above the ice level. You can even see gold down in the bottom of the base of the fountain, or copper, or silver, depending, which, you know, would make sense. People like to make wishes.
Okay. Well, I'll give the middle pillar a quick once over, see if there's any kind of, I don't know, markings or maybe like a little seam in it or something, where something might be hiding. But I think this might just be a wishing well / former drinking fountain.
Besides, basically there's some rooms around the top area.
Yeah.
Besides those, which more or less confirm that this just produces water, as seen by Kieran's magic vision, and through an examination of the wordings and arcane knowledge. Beyond that, though, there doesn't seem to be anything else special. I will say it's around this point you notice Lulu's trunk having turned quite blue because she stuck it right in the water and she's drinking and drinking and drinking. But before it gets too blue, she pulls it out. Goes, oh, I was so tasty. It was so really good. I couldn't help myself. I was really thirsty. Interestingly, despite the fact that she guzzled down water, the water layer itself quickly replenishes to that top ring level. So it's a very efficient pillar, too.
Okay. Throw like a little...
Looks very much like a bird. She has her head tucked under one wing, shoving her nose down.
I was going to say, I'm going to put a bit of my cloak over Lulu, because no doubt the impending headache is going to be a sharp one.
It's fascinating, all the trivial things they've achieved with, like, just like magic here, like the things like water fountains and, you know, guide statues and so forth. Quite a lot of investment here into this this whole place.
Pride cometh before the fall. Maybe they reached to too great a height with their magic, and that's what incurred the wrath of the gods. I mean, you start giving statues a semblance of life. How long before you try giving other things a semblance of life? I mean, that's just a theory. But you hear all these old stories of wizards gone wrong.
Oh yeah.
Lulu will even look towards and say, no, you might be onto something. And she flops down on her butt. She just looks towards the mechanical violinist ahead, and then it flux a little in back of the violinist. Well, I mean, because she was saying, that dude there looks really tough, but now we know he's just a machine. So, they've gone past infusing magic. They're able to create life? Oof. You know, I said this was over my pay grade, right? Oh, my word.
It's over your pay grade, but maybe you're in line for a little bit of a promotion there, Lulu. You got a little sniff of what's next.
Well, the way things are going, I'm probably gonna, yeah.
Well, if you ever need a reference.
Her eyes seem to sparkle. She goes, I could become a Vice Admiral Commander? Oh my word, I'm gonna have to check in with Zariel on this one when she wakes up. Lulu looks a little sad.
God damn it, even when I'm trying to be funny, I upset someone. I'm sorry, Lulu.
Lulu gives a shake of her head. It's okay. I'm gonna get that damn promotion. Lulu's mindset has now changed somewhat to corporate style Lulu.
Oh no.
Her goal is to climb the angelic ladder.
I once had an idea for like a kind of take on the Nine Hells. Just when we were playing this, I called it Descent into Bureaucracy. And just imagine the Nine Hells is like a giant call center and a business, and like the first layer of hell was like the customer reps, like the public facing stuff.
Oh my God. 8th layer would definitely be tier 3 tech support. If you get over to there, you're done.
And you don't have the Arch Prince of Hell, you have the CEO of Hell. And
Asmodeus, acting CEO and head body of the board of directors. Coming in to see the quarterly profit margins is from Avernus.
I just thought there was something to when you phone up to try and cancel something, being stuck in an infernal contract like that.
Well, the honest truth here is, as evil and as crazy as a DM and I can be sometime, your idea right there of basically putting a punch-out clock in hell, that takes the cake.
It's the most heavily guarded part in all the hells. No one ever gets to leave.
I just want to punch out, man. No. You have to work overtime first. I already did. For an eon. Maybe 2.
all the commanders of hell, like Zariel and Bell and that, they're all board members.
Oh, just filled up with paperwork.
Anyway, that's
though that is kind of how they got El Terrell. She was like, "Hey, sign here," and they were like, "Yeah, all right." I do love the bureaucracy.
You fool! You never looked at subsection A, which leads to appendix 3B, which leads to subsection of the appendix CA. That what?
Yep. Oh my word! The interesting thing about the demonic contractual law, or the devil contractual law. I keep saying demonic because it sounds better, but devil contractual law in D&D. Near as I can tell, it's never actually ever really been written down. It's stated to exist. But they are very specific on the mythos of where it comes from, how it came to be, and etc. They've funneled that out recently a bit more. But if I get into details, that's spoilers, so you know.
It's telling that one of the most one of the worst situations to be in a D&D game is something that you need to do every day in the real world.
Yeah, contracts. Oh, and around this time, Lulu'd be walking over to Flux as she takes her trunk back from under her wing, which is returned to its normal golden color, and she goes, "It's all right, I got you covered too." And she holds over one of the wine bottles, which has been emptied and filled with the ice-cold water, towards Flux. She goes, very refreshing. Just don't drink too much. Alex really onto something with that brain freeze. Oh my god, I have a headache.
Oh, thanks, Lulu, but don't tell Bellamy that you dumped out some of her wine.
Oh no, it wasn't empty. She doesn't recycle, but I've been picking up after her. And she just nods a few times very proudly.
Oh, okay, good.
That's so good. I can see it.
Bellamy, looking back, looks toward Jade, and she just mutters slightly, "Who the hell recycles in hell?" One nice thing about Avernus, if you had to get rid of something, you just threw it in the fire.
Yeah. Alright, okay, so, I saw you kinda heading towards this way, Dan. You want to check out this little...
Yeah, I wanted to check the room behind the automaton and down there. And then we can go wherever.
Sure, sounds good, let's do it.
Nimbar would walk up and put a hand on Jade's arm as he's rubbing his temple. He goes, I can still send my what's that thing called? You know, it's not Nimbar.
Manifest
my
9.
Thank you, my friend. Oh, my flipping head. For the record, the DM did know that one for once, but it's playing up the migraine. He can send not Nimbar around the corner and see what's there first, if you'd like.
Well, that's what we have been doing, so sure.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's the whole reason I brought it up. Rather than throw Jade into a situation where he gets killed for the 5th time. And then gets brought back right away with all the answers again. The manifest mind is able to confirm that around the corner it sees the strange visage, and I'm just going to move the sword down so everybody can see it as well, of what appears to be the statue of a small draconic type of beast that it doesn't recognize. And on top of that, what appears to be a pile of gold down a thin hallway. Shit, I did not mean to delete the sword. I think I have to reset its lighting. Yeah, I do.
And I'm definitely interested in checking out the dragon statue.
Yeah, I've been finding magic stuff on statues, so
Worth a look.
Especially if it's like one we don't recognize. That almost never happens.
As you approach the odd-looking statue, you notice it isn't quite draconic in its design. You've not seen such an odd creature before. You can all roll a history check, those of you who go to look at it directly.
I think I would probably be better off guiding one of the boffins. Roll a D4 on top of that, Kieran.
Oh, and I know you're feeling a little unwell, Kieran. Just in case, you are on mute.
Yep. No, I'm sorry. I'm aware. I muting on purpose.
Perfect. Just making sure as you're doing rolls and stuff. I didn't want you to feel ignored or anything in that regard. As you check this strange-looking monster over, which I throw a picture up in there, you've not seen a beast like this before, and glancing upon it, it almost looks aquatic in nature, with with Isaac and Jade both scorching above 20 on those checks. You're able to confirm that it's a Leviathan with wings. The Leviathan, though generally A gargantuan-sized creature. This one is very small, however. Barely bigger than you are. It might even be a young version of it. But as a draconic beast, the Leviathan normally didn't have wings. They swam underwater. But this creature most certainly does. However, like many other things, it is a statue, like most other things. And for the record, a Leviathan in D&D is a CR 20+ monster. Challenge rating's over 20 on Leviathan. One of those epic level super creatures to see. And since you're both nice and close, for Jade and Alec, if you both want to give a perception check, just in general, as you're looking over that statue. And anybody else who wants to as well, of course. But I mention it to those because he rolls an 8 and gets a 20 bloody 2, so.
24.
Oh god, even worse. And Alec hits a 19 for a 32. As you're looking over the statue, Alec, with his keen sense of perception, is able to confirm that this is a creature turned to stone. You can see certain telltale effects. Jade, glancing over it with his 22, believes it to be one of the greatest sculptures he's ever seen, but with a 32 on perception, Alec starts pointing things out. He goes, no, take a look. The mouth continues on. If you look down, it looks like a hole. That's what got me thinking. So then I started noticing other areas represent actual body parts, things that can't easily be carved out of stone. But beyond that, you can see certain telltale marks underneath the arms where the joints go together. Small scorching of magical capacity where the stone would have taken over. Little things that can't easily be noticed unless you get 30 above on a perception check. You can confirm that, yes, this was indeed 100% a living creature at one point.
Ooh, that's...
As for the Leviathan in this one, with both of you getting a high check, you know the Leviathan is an immense dragon-like sea creature, 300 to 500 feet long, the lord of all seas and the intermediary between aquatic creatures and the gods.
Yeah. That's insane that they were able to do something like this. I don't even know what to call it, because a proto-Leviathan doesn't seem right. Unless this place is even older than we thought. I guess it might never have been part of our world. This could be from somewhere else.
That's an interesting thought.
It was turned to stone. Do you think the wings were added just before turning to stone, or like, because we can have the cloaks, we can turn into wings, so wonder if there's an extra magic device did that? But why is it so small?
The wings are definitely part of the body. I can confirm that for you with your checks that you've done. Lulu would point out as you're looking at these things with a nod. She goes, you know, we have a saying, be happy when Paxson created the snake. He did not give it wings. Apparently, he did.
Well, we did just have theorize in the room with the automaton that maybe they were creating things that shouldn't be. Maybe this was one of them. They made this and then just turned it to stone. was for decoration. I mean, that's horrifyingly callous.
Rather than a decoration, what if it's a guardian for the gold down the hallway?
That the thought had crossed my mind.
Compared to the riches that you already contain, it is a very small pile of gold.
True. And if they have this sort of power, like...
Oh, and of course that... Sorry, Kieran, to cut you off. And of course that pile of gold is frozen under the ice.
If they have this sort of...
Sorry, that time I literally said, but you were saying.
I was going to say that if they have this sort of power, you know, at what point does meager gold start to become more of a trivial thing for them anyways?
Probably more, it was a funny trap for someone who wanted the gold.
Detect magic on the quote-unquote statue, the one we've determined is in fact not a statue, but I just kind of want to see if I can get a sense of anything from it.
As you give a glance over the statue from what it was, just 1 second here, I have to look up the actual class. I had it, but it poofed on me. Because unfortunately I closed the window. I'm just looking up at School of Magic for a petrification spell, because it would reek of that magic at this point, even though it's been years.
Yeah.
Like the flesh to stone, for example.
Yeah, that's how I figured. That transmutation, right?
Yeah. I just want to make 100% because every now and again they surprise me. Yes, it is indeed transmutation.
Like when they decided healing wasn't necromancy anymore.
Yeah, exactly, because people are like, healing should be a necromancy skill, but...
It was once upon a time, and then they changed it because necromancy sounds bad and healing can't be the bad school, which is, frankly, not a good way of designing that.
It's not the way a wizard would do it. A wizard would be like, logically, this is the way it is, but... Yeah. So you do sense transmutation power all over it, which makes complete sense for something that was turned to stone.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much confirms your thorough examination there that indeed it looks like that some sort of transmutation, probably flesh to stone. Well, probably a more permanent flesh to stone. So, although that's right, that spell, if it lasts the whole duration, it's permanent, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to remember how that worked. A lot of really cool, like, trump card spells got super nerfed in 5th edition.
Oh yeah, magic was too strong at the top levels.
There's
no point in playing other classes and older ones, so...
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, like, the fact that Wizard is still, like, probably the strongest class in the game at endgame tells you how badly Magic needed a nerf in, like, older editions.
Oh,
like...
Yeah.
I mean, if we're feeling spicy, I could maybe try just waking it up.
Oh god.
Sometimes dragons aren't always hostile, but I don't know if I really want to do that, to be honest.
And while you all do a quick plan, actually just give me 2 minutes, I'll be right back.
It's definitely a risk, for certain. We figure we could take it, but is it a fight we want to take? Is it a risk we want to take?
Probably not. I was just musing out loud. I imagine if humanoids put it into this state, it will be furious at the next humanoids that it sees.
Except Bellamy. Bellamy would just convince it to serve her.
I will admit, I do kind of miss some of the turbo broken spells, though. I've said that the game really needed balance, but at the same time, I do kind of miss the idea that like high level wizards just like casters in general just completely breaking the game, because it could be kind of fun.
You know me. You know I like hard numbers. I'm not always a fan of advantage, disadvantage, etc., etc.
You should try Pathfinder sometime if you like numbers.
Yeah, but everyone I know plays D&D, so I need to talk to new people, and that's like. Yeah.
Hit me up in like 2 years or something, because I'm eventually going to run a Pathfinder game, but I have no time, obviously, for the next eons. So.
Yeah.
Want to see one of my favorite spells in Pathfinder? Here, post this in off chat. That is such a goofy spell. Or is that the spell I'm thinking of? No, that's not even... Oh, yeah. No, that's not even the one I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of... I'm thinking of the spherical version. That one's fun because you actually have to like reference spells for it, because it's like... So here, this is the one I'm thinking of. It's essentially the same thing, except you create the, it's a full 7-layered sphere, but centered around, like a corner of your space. So, like, it's essentially like an invincibility button, because it's so incredibly annoying to get through all the layers. And dangerous if you try to, like, run through it, right? Like, someone who's not you tries to run through it. You're not affected by your own chromatic or prismatic.
So, all right. So that spell has all the layers detailed, and the wall spell.
Yeah. If you click prismatic, sorry, I linked the wrong one first.
Yeah.
Click prismatic sphere. You can then go to prismatic wall, which then goes to chromatic wall, because chromatic wall is like the most basic version, and then prismatic wall is like the extended version. And then Prismatic Sphere is like the ultimate version. Prismatic Sphere is a 9th level spell, which is, funny enough, is not the highest level spell in the game. There are actually 10th level spells in Pathfinder. In 2e.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I feel
and I'm back.
Oh yeah, but they're not 10th level spells in like the D&D sense of like you know, elder magic, like, you know what I mean, kind of thing. They're actually accessible to players.
I think there's definitely a middle ground between 5e and Pathfinder somewhere.
Yeah. Pathfinder's like, let's take 3.5 and turn it into 5th edition, but keep Pathfinder on top with all the complexity. And I'm not complaining about that. It's a good thing. People want that.
Oh yeah. It serves a very good niche, which is for players who want more customization, and they want more crunchy rules, but they don't want to dive into like a truly complicated system, because I would say Pathfinder's still really easy to play. But it has a lot more customization options, and it has a lot more like crunch in its rules still. If you look at like a Pathfinder or a Pathfinder 2e or a Pathfinder 1e like book. I use 2e because it's the modern equivalent to 5e, right? And compare it to a 5e book. There's a lot more rules and like tables and charts, which is very similar to older editions of D&D, as compared to 5e, where they've gotten a lot more text in the 5e books are fluff, because they try to keep the rules simple in 5e, and they try to keep the rules out of the way in 5e. Which is just a different approach to design, right?
Yeah.
Smooth
system for 5e. A lot of it's meant to be as quick and easy as possible while still maintaining complexity. But I would admit I would like a bit more in terms of rule content in books, because I feel like they don't give us. I feel like the books are a little too
padded with like lore fluff stuff, which if you're not running a thing for like a specific campaign isn't always useful, right? Like you'll get a book and it'll have like, here's like 2 subclasses and a few spells and some things, and then a lot of the book will be stuff that's just more kind of describing stuff and not really giving you like content you might be able to adapt to something else. I find that's a bit of an issue with 5e. I wish they were just a little bit more rule dense. Like I get it's a good approach to keep them simple, but I'd prefer if there was just a bit more of like the kind of the gameplay content in them. That's all.
Slow to expand, but lots of modules, which is nice. Lets people roll through.
They have done a great job with their pre-built modules, and like they're publishing those. Although I do wish they had more high-level stuff. That has been a criticism of 5e, is that the high levels largely don't exist, which is something really cool about this campaign. Is the fact that we're actually playing high level.
Yeah, I think it's something along the lines of
so little.
85% of campaigns, or something crazy high. I haven't looked at in a while. Are between 5 and 13. That's it. Players play in those level groups. Nobody does the epic.
Yeah, although to be fair, once you get up to the highest levels, the balance of 5e also starts to kind of wobble and fly off. You know, it's hard to it's definitely the DM has to put a lot more work into figuring out balance the higher the levels go, because the systems for balancing encounters and stuff just start to fall apart once the players have so many ridiculous resources.
Or you do what I do, say frigate, throw copies of the players at the players, make a giant army of them, and all the weapons you can throw at them, and be like, okay, beat this.
Yeah, you have to. Honestly, it's one of those things that it feels like once you get to a high enough level, it almost starts to become impossible to throw too much at the player.
You gotta remember the tiers of play and what the stakes are. If you have very high level players with very low stakes, then it's just not fun. But, you can always try to rise. But I'm getting a bit off topic now.
Oh, yes.
Have you all decided what you're doing with that there statue?
Definitely not wakening it up.
It's probably not a great idea, yeah. We don't know how it's going to react if we wake it up.
Probably hungry. It's been sleeping for so long, it's going to have munchies.
Yeah. I think Alec will give it a pat on the head. It's a good mini Leviathan. And hopefully it won't spring up and eat our faces. Are you wanting to get that gold, Jade, or?
No, Jade's already noped out of there.
Fair enough. Is it just gold in there, or is there anything else? I guess it'd be hard to tell.
It looks just like a pile of gold. Buried under the ice, mind you, but it just looks like a pile of gold.
The group's not exactly lacking for funds. Although, what is it? If I detect magic and I look at the pile of gold, do I see anything?
Nope, nothing of the sort. Just gold. Okay.
Yep, I'll... I don't see anything magical there. I just see... So it's anything in there would... unless, of course, you know, the obvious... Unless, of course, somehow it's been blocked. It just looks like it's just mundane things. Gold, money.
Lulu would speak up to the paranoia. Yeah, unless someone's like took lead and painted it gold and threw it on top of something to try to hide it, but that's a lot of work. You can just put it in a box or something.
There is something to the art of hiding precious things in plain sight, but I feel like chances are simply is what it is, right?
Lulu shrugs. Well, if we really want to go, we could get Nimbar go dig it up. He could give us a hand, right, buddy? Nimbar grabs his new arm a little bit and shoots a side glance at Lulu. No.
Yeah, we'll just
move on.
Yeah, give this one a miss. I don't rightly know if Alex ever had a good interaction with dragons. No, we have. This is the barber. What am I thinking? Well,
barber.
No, that's right.
That's right.
We don't know that because we forget as soon as we leave the tent. So as far as Alec knows, he's never had a good interaction with dragons.
And I don't think Isaac hasn't met the barber. I think, so, right? I know that.
Yeah.
I don't remember if Isaac ever did. I don't think so, but I might be misremembering in my haze that I'm currently experiencing.
Yeah, you might be right.
I think the only dragon Isaac met, it was not a particularly pleasant. I did mention before that he had a bit of a run-in with a green dragon at one point. I figured starting at level very high, I can't remember exactly where he started, he would have had some experiences in the past like that, right?
I hope so. Imagine grinding up to level 15 inside of a library. God.
Just did the what is it called? The South Park World of Warcraft thing, and just like fought boars in the forest until he capped out.
Oh God.
I know of one man who could do it though. Okay.
Oh yeah.
You know, we say this, but I got Fallout New Vegas on my PC the other day because it's one of the best games ever, and I'm in the starter town. And I finished talking to a guy, and I take advantage of an old exploit I know, which allows me to redo the speech check and gain infinite XP in the first town before you leave. So I put a macro on my controller for 2.5 hours. It went through and did it and maxed my level out. And when I left town, I got to redistribute my skills and doubled my perks. Because
you would install any add-ons, any mods.
Oh, I got all the base for everything. I don't use anything out of the mod channel though for it. I'm just playing vanilla.
Oh, okay, because a couple of decent ones. I remember, what was it?
Oh, there's a bunch for New Vegas. That game's been...
Project Nevada? Apparently was, I remember, like, that just added some features and things to the game.
Oh, yeah.
And then, there was a mod, Tale of Two Wastelands combines Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas into a single game, running in Fallout New Vegas's engine. Which is cool if you want to play Fallout 3, but you want improvements from Fallout New Vegas and like the mod support from Fallout New Vegas in Fallout 3.
I never used much mods. I just hacked the hell out of it.
You could also take the train from one game to the other, which is neat. Although, like, honestly, with the length of those games, you're probably just going to do one or the other, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Dan, you wanted to go to the right first over here?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do some creeping.
Alrighty then. Well, since Dan was the one who wanted to go that way, you feel free to lead with your mini, just pretending it's, you know, you've got the advantage of Nimbar's, not Nimbar for the manifest mind, which is in the lead so you don't get drumped. I'll give you descriptions as you go through places to make life easier, right? But as you come down, you see another very small, thin hallway, but nothing of note. Just the other half of that one spot. And as you continue to move on, you can see down in the far corner of this next zone, before you even get there, yet another statue. This one of a wolf. And as Alec can confirm at a glance now, due to that keen eye, it's got the same markings, the same design of something petrified.
I will say, this is a rather distasteful way of decorating your maze. Using living creatures as statues.
pretty messed up. Yep.
Like,
upon approach, you see two of these wolf statues. Gigantic beasts with horrid fangs and a look of death upon their faces. You've never seen such a brutal wolf. Dire wolves would be scared of these monstrosities.
I'm no druid, but I have my, I guess my, limits with, you know what I mean? Like, what I'm okay with when it comes to, using magic like this. This is just kind of cruel. If I rolled nature, could I figure out anything about those wolves?
They're demonic hell wolves. Nature's not going to get you too much on them, unfortunately.
Arcana?
Demonic hell wolves. That's...
No way. There's no skill I could use here to try and get some sort of.
More so, there's not much more to be gleamed from.
Okay, that's fair.
You could look with a shrug and be like, they're demonic hell wolves. It's they come from the Nine. They're evil. They're big and they bite. You don't see anything that would stand out. You're not looking at them like, oh my god, it's a form of Loki from the god of destruction and trickery and no, nothing like that.
No, that's an alligator.
Oh god. Yeah, right, with that show. Right. But no, you don't notice anything special about them other than that they're hell wolves. A rare thing to see. But on this plane of existence in the cold, maybe not so much rare.
Yeah, true. We might just run into some of those at some point.
I gave a quick Google because I didn't actually have a reference picture for this one. I was going to be like, oh, here, I'll grab one. And probably the worst thing to look for because all I find is like all the emo pictures. I just typed in demon wolf and it's all just...
Oh, yeah!
I'll get a quick reference picture. Something that's like, oh, this'll do. Here we go. I don't know who drew this picture. I don't think they signed for it. But there. It looks something like, you know, that sort of thing.
That's the, like, what's it called? Oh, yeah. What is it, the thing from, like, Arrested Development? I was like, I don't know what I was expecting. Like, that, like... After that search, it's like, yeah.
So glancing between the two, they both seem in combat pose and ready. But quite stone.
Hey, if there's hell wolves here, does that mean we get our puppy?
Hell puppy? Oh yeah, the hell puppies. I remember that.
Maybe one day.
Lulu would speak up. Oh my word, they are so much work. You can't even potty train them that easy. They just burn a hole through the floor.
Well, then we can go get them to potty to burn a hole through so we can get the gold.
They look like bad dogs.
Will you not listen? I said you can't train them. They'll poop whatever they want. It's the worst. We had a real bad beast, the one with the Hell Riders. Oh my word, he pooped on my head. That was the last straw. I said, Zero, you gotta get rid of that one. And she was like, okay. And she went and did it. Friggin' ordered like some crazy ass lady. She was like, oh, I made her handler do it. It's like, that's not very nice, but oh, whatever. And even then, the damn thing didn't die. They were just like, oh, let's just throw it into a portal to hell then. Well, sure. My god, the hell dogs. Oh, they're the worst.
Well, in hell now. Hopefully we don't run into your old friend.
God, I hope not. It was like this three-headed monstrosity of a hell beast. Oh.
You want to keep going this way, or do we want to go back and get that back corner? So it looks like we're starting to loop around to where we've already been.
Yeah. Yeah, let's check out the corner and we'll see. We'll see how we go.
Go back or continue on?
It was like this corner, Rex, you were talking about?
Yeah, go back for that. So it looks like we're starting to wrap around to where the statue was.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess we've not moved too far, so we could check it out. yeah, this is where one having like that compulsion to uncover the map is gonna be it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I played Diablo 2 for a long time. I still play.
Are you looking forward to to Blizzard's hopefully not reforging, but actually putting out a good, fingers crossed, Diablo 2? I'm still mad about what they did to Warcraft 3.
I think everyone...
They managed to, not only release a really garbage, version, they actually managed to, ruin the original version in the process, because they made it update to use the same engine. Yeah. So it lost a bunch of features. Custom campaigns, I think, are still not in the game anymore.
I got a flash drive that has my Warcraft 3 full install on it. I just plug it into a computer and I can play.
Yep.
I haven't changed it in 10 years, and I'm not doing the updates.
Yeah, don't update it. It just ruins the game. That's all it does.
You can't beat a classic like that, and I like playing it for its team defense maps. And Jade, as your character, makes his way further down the cold, twisty walks to the north. You can see the path twists to the left and turns to the right as it splits in either direction in front of you. And I'm moving you a little bit further forward, just so you can see more, because you're not in any trouble. No bad guys in the area, right? Around the corner here.
Just wording on the floor.
Exactly. Blackened wording, burnt directly in what appears to be arcane words of power. And as you creep around the corner, you can see the pathing here continues in a northern path over this way, on the east and to the west, but to the south, following those words, you see a pair of archways, each one shimmering, one with a soft green light, and one with an odd purple light. The archways themselves appear completely blank. You can see through them clear as day to the other side. But beyond that...
Due to my lack of focus, sorry, are we keeping up with him, or is Jay just ahead right now?
Oh, he's the player who has the turn to decide where the party's going, so. Okay. The idea is Nimbar is continually casting bonfire, and that represents where the group is. So there'd be a bonfire about here to keep you all warm so you don't freeze to death.
Okay.
Jade just happens to be the person leading at the moment.
I'd like to detect magic, and check out both the writing and also those two. What did you say these were again?
Just archways.
Archways.
A pair of archways radiating with light that you can clearly see through. You can even walk through. All of it radiates magic, but no specific class that
general
you
magic
pinpoint.
Okay.
You're not sure if it's general magic or if someone has specifically blocked the schools from vision.
Yeah. I mean, that's always
Can we understand the arcane words on the floor?
Not specifically, no. They are entwined with the very language of magic itself, as if somebody wrote a spell on the floor, though it appears to be wholly incomplete. It would be as if... Oh, I don't know. Let me just grab a... Well, there's no real way for me to do that, so you all can see. You could imagine a sheet of paper about 60 squares by 60 squares, and this is a circle from the middle of it. Like someone stamped a piece out and put it onto the floor. However, you can tell that it is tied to the altars. Whatever magic binds them is bound within this as well.
Would I be able to roll Arcana to see if I could figure out anything about it, or...?
Specifically, no. There's no discrete area. The magic that has bound this, as near as you can tell, also is specifically designed to block its purpose and usage from view.
But I mean, even the text itself,
even the text, the main purpose of that, from what you can tell, is to block the magic from view. But it's like it would be as if I held out a sheet of loose leaf and hole punched it and took one of the hole punchings and put it down. That's more or less what that is. The smallest bits of words, pieces of magic that could fit for anything. But your magical vision tells you that it's linked with the portals, or they might be archways. They are, but I say portals because you got to be safe on archways. And because the tongue slipped.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's usually the assumption with an archway and magic, anyways, right?
You assume
usually the safe assumption. Yeah. So, well, this is particularly dangerous because they've made efforts to prevent it from being analyzed, which suggests that they really wanted to keep whatever this does secret.
The easiest way to describe the kind of magic that was used. It reminds you of a mage casting a spell silently and without hand movements. The sort of mastery you just don't see in magic anymore. The ability to cast naturally and just drop a spell. When someone does that, it's impossible to know what you're getting hit with until you're hit with it. And that's
sorcerers can do that.
Oh yeah.
Get all subtle spell, but
but we don't have a sorcerer in the party, so I say lost to the sands of time. That's sort of rare power that you don't see among the wizards anymore.
Yeah. Meta magic become very, very rare for wizards.
It's because of the other schools being so very open. But
yep. Oh yeah.
That's sort of what it is. It's like seeing someone physically having figured out a way to drop a spell as if it was done without using hands or without verbal components or anything. It's there and it's affecting, but it's impossible to see. It's ingenious, in fact, in how clever it was to block these features.
Definitely a mixture of respect and anxiety looking at this, because that's one, it's a very fascinating thing. I'd love to take the time to study it that we probably don't have, but
if you had
at the same time,
you had an hour to sit there with a history and an arcana check, you think you could figure out some more. But at a glance, no.
Would you guys be willing to take a quick, take an hour-long stop for me to try and figure this out?
You said with history and arcana, he could do it within an hour.
Yes.
If someone assisted him, could he do it faster?
He'd only get advantage on the roll.
I'd still appreciate the advantage.
Here's a question. How long has it been since our last rest?
Oh, I kept checking the clock. You can see it by pushing the calendar. It's almost midnight. And I believe it's 8 in the morning is when you all stop to take your rest. Like 8 hours into the day. It was really weird how the time got flipped backwards on you.
Right.
So you're about 8 hours from taking your long rest. Or being eligible for one anyway.
Okay.
I'm right in that assumption. It was 8 a.m. that your long rest resets, right?
Yeah, I remember we're kind of on a night shift style thing. We're a little bit off.
Sleep during the daytime, right? Because 8 o'clock at daytime you go to bed instead of 8 o'clock at nighttime, or something.
Yeah. So it's probably around. We're probably due like a lunch break, around about now anyway. So.
Yep. Kind of what I was thinking would balance well with it, so I can.
Yeah, so we could take like a short rest, I suppose, and those guys can study while we have a sit down.
So I'm gonna move the time clock forward then 1 hour. That should work. Yeah, there we go. Which now makes it 1:30 in the morning. And as for what Kieran will discover with his check, we'll do some rolls and all that when we get back. But as Dean's mentioned, this is a great time for us to take a quick little break. And lunch. So we'll see y'all in 15 minutes.
Alright, see you in 15 minutes.
See you guys.
And I'll tag myself on mute just so you all know I'm stepped away.
Okay, Fergus.
I have returned. Get the funky music going again. So I saw you blink back in there, Dan. I don't know if Dean's in yet. He was on mute, but he could be using hard mute, right?
Yeah, he never went to mute as far as I could see.
Yep. Well, with Jillian still being on mute, the assumption is.
Yeah.
Oh, and fun thing, the clock that I use for this game, I believe there's a way to integrate it with the new calendar I'm using instead, because the old clock is stuck at like 7:15. But I believe there's a way to link them together. I gotta look that up, because I absolutely love having a clock. I don't like having to check it like a watch.
Yeah, it was convenient to have it there. Then we knew different things for us as well.
Oh yeah. Now you have to click on the calendar to see the clock at all times. I do have the other clock, it's just not accurate, right? But I think they can link. I was seeing the other clock is being discontinued to instead to work with this new calendar system, so. Oh. Ever since I did Waterdeep, I've been very, very, very strict with sticking to a calendar system because there's just so much nicety that comes from using it. I didn't realize how handy it'd be to do this in a dungeon. Like, I'm probably going to build a game clock, physical game clock for D&D. Just put it in with my D&D stuff. I'm sure there's a app for that.
Yeah, but it's also useful with the, okay, we have this spell running, it lasts for this long, so at this time on the clock, the spell ends, and tracking stuff like that makes it easier.
So nice.
I mean, there was the one time I caught it where, oh, it's after this time, that means this is recharged, I can use it now.
Exactly. It's like, oh, right, we did skip over on a day, you're good to go, Dawn kicked in. It was nice having the clock right there. It's still nice having one that works, but it's like this upgrade to Windows 11 thing. It's like upgrade Foundry to 0.88, and it's like, oh, so many things broke, but so many new things work so well. Since I think I see Jillian came off and mute. We're just waiting on Kira and maybe Dean. Since I got your ears, I'll be the spoilers. They added a new fancy feature called the foreground layer. So if you had like, oh, I don't know, a town with a bunch of buildings in it, the roofs themselves would be foreground layer, but the second you go into the building, they disappear, so you see what's inside the building. Kind of like Fog of War, but way cooler.
Ooh, that does sound cool.
Just saying. You know. Made me really happy when that came up. I was like, oh my. Just saying.
It is really cool.
It's so cool.
And Kieran did say he's going to be an extra couple minutes there in Discord.
Oh shoot, I missed that. I see now it says there's a new unread under the general. I'm just gonna give him a thumbs up on that one. Thumbs up, the universal. I saw your message. I approve of it. You do you. If you give the smiley face, some people consider it passive aggressive. It's like, oh, you're happy I'm gone? It's like, no, I was trying to be polite and say I read your message. Some of the things you hear over the years. Fortunately, most people just get confused when they see an emoji that doesn't match. Oh. Oh no, I'm not incorrect there. You're back, right, Jillian?
Yeah, I'm back.
Perfect. You back, Dean?
I might have to. I think I'll.
Oops, sorry.
Dean, I think, is still upstairs.
Okay.
I don't have to leave early necessarily, but I might have to leave abruptly because my friend is coming over around 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if they're there at like 1:45 and you're like, I'm gone, that's fine.
Yeah, I figured it would be toward the end of the game anyway, so just if you hear me duck out without much of an explanation, that's why. I'll try to be rude.
Worries. Well, keep us posted as well when it does happen, because if it's at like 1:35, 1:45, something like that, we could just call the game at that point if we're close to the end anyway.
Yeah, we could. I think we'll probably be more or less at a cooling down point by then anyway, so
Besides,
I wasn't really too worried about it, but
I don't think Lulu would want to go into combat without Flux.
I did tell her that we had D&D until around 2, so she knows, like, that we're doing that, so she shouldn't be.
Isn't it nice that you can tell people that, and they're like, oh, that's cool, as opposed to, like, 20 years ago, they were like, oh. I'll come over tomorrow.
We had to play D&D in college, like, part of, like, one of our class assignments was to, like, DM a session or something like that, and like they all took turns doing it because it had to do with game design, because she took animation, like 2D animation, and it had to do with game design and stuff.
I appreciate that. That's smart. There goes a bit of work into building this stuff. It's a good thing to be like, or maybe their teacher was just mad, or their professor, what may have it would have been, was just mad, and it's like, you know what, I run all these games for a couple of you, I'm gonna make the whole class run games so you see how hard it is.
Yeah, I think it was just the idea of game design, and like, this is a form of gameplay. Oh, yeah. And you should learn how to do it as part of the class.
Sorry guys.
Welcome back. I really like that concept of using D&D as a forced learning tool for game design, because it kind of helped shape the industry back in the day for, this is how games work, this is how you play, this is how we can build a mechanical system for level up and blah blah blah. So, you know, that's really cool, Jillian. I like that fact. I mean, I also love D&D, so it tickles me pink too, so, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And besides, also, if you say it was they're in animation design.
Yeah, they actually, well, game design. I don't remember exactly what she took in college, but it was she took 2D animation, and then I think she took a year of game design, like on top of that, at an SCC. I'm really not 100% sure, but I know she works. Excuse me, for some kind of online, like, slot machine company or something like that, and she does a lot of the animations for, like, little apps and stuff that have slot machine games on them. I'm not really sure exactly. Well, something like that, though.
So long as she's not the one that makes the Facebook ads for games that aren't the game, but they look really cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I don't think she's that high up. I'm sure the games that she has helped design haven't really popped up on your Facebook target ads.
Yeah, that's fair. Mind you, my Facebook target ads, it's just random as heck, because I open Facebook once in the blue to look at the marketplace, and it's like, we don't know what he likes. He hasn't posted in 5 years. Hey, let's throw socks at him. Do you like socks, buddy? He didn't respond. How about an hoodie? He didn't respond. How about a computer? He really didn't respond. I'm kind of
it's interesting, but also horrifying how quickly apps like Facebook and stuff can track your activity and your interests. And I hate, like, that it'll show me something and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then I go to look to see where the post came from, like hoping it was a friend or something sharing it. And I'm like, no, it's just Target advertisement.
They actually got me with
All
that
right.
goods. When I bought my Super Nintendo controllers, it was AliExpress posting an ad on Facebook for them being available, and I was like, oh really? I clicked it, opened the app. I'm like, I thought this was somebody sharing something, and it jumps over, because I mean, literally, I'm opening Facebook to hit Marketplace usually. I'm looking for random junk or old games. Pops me over, pulls up AliExpress, shows it to me, and I'm like, but I don't want to buy it. I clicked on an ad to get here. I feel like this is wrong, but I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah. It's if I see something, just to spite them, if I see something of interest on Facebook Target ads, I'll just like open it up and like in a new tab or an incognito tab, and just like I'll just Google this brand. I'm not gonna click directly through the link. So.
Oh, they get me on my Google account. I'll admit that. I let them track the hell out of one of my Google accounts because it's a little easier. But they get me with the Target advertisement with that for things that come up. I'm like, damn it, you paid too close attention, Google. You paid too close attention.
Well, I'm sure I turned off tracking activity on all of my apps, but then, like, a couple months later, it just somehow gets itself turned back on again, and I'm like, I don't enjoy this.
Google jumping in like, guess what you agreed to that you didn't know you agreed to?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, pardon me. Alrighty, I was doing a little bit of blab there, I will admit, to try to spin a little time for Kieran. But we're almost doubled up on the break, so I'm going to go ahead and kick us back in, especially where, Jillian, you're a little short on time too now. Or it could be, potentially, you know how it is. And we're going to jump back in. The problem is, God, I need Kieran to do rolls for stuff, and damn it.
Well, I was going to suggest I can do those rolls as well.
Now, there is some basic information I can give out in regards, but not too much. You can do the Arcana to check it out. But if Kieran's check's high enough, he can get some good information. Damn it, I can't even say nothing about nothing. Crap. Oh. We'll
Hi.
Oh, welcome back.
Sorry, I'm back. When I got up, everything kind of span a bit, and it just took way longer to do stuff than I had intended.
Oh, God, man, that's fair. I was just actually saying for a minute there, we're gonna jump ahead since Kieran's out. We'll give him a few more. He might just need a few extra time. Then I immediately realized, wait a second, and then I'm laughing because it's like, ah, crap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
no. It was the reasonable. Yeah. So, can I make? You said it's Arcana.
Yeah, you can do either History or Arcana on this one as you're giving it an examination over the hour.
And am I being assisted? Like.
Yep, Jade was popping assistance on. I think Jade's trained on either now.
I'm trained on both, but so is Nimbar.
Alright, I'll roll Arcana.
So is your Simulacrum.
Oh, God.
I'll roll Arcana with advantage.
Now, with the simulacrums, I like to give them the jump on things that immediately need an answer right away. For long-term research, I usually say you're going to need to select one person to do it, which we've done. Kieran just did the roll. And with a 25, you are able to break through to see exactly what sort of workings. What you find, first off, is a translation within this. You see how this spell is constructed. Not all of it, just the spell sitting on top, and it's incredibly ingenious that someone was able to craft it in such a way. As you read the spell, written within it is a quote, which is exceptionally hard to do inside a spell that changes wordings. The spell says, in regards to the Archways, one grants wisdom, the other removes its burden.
One grants wisdom, the other removes its burden. Alright. Have I discerned anything else about the spell?
The other interesting thing you have discovered about this spell, as you're reading through, is the fact that there's a copyright notice built in to the masking spell. As part of the spell, you would need to write this down, which is mind-boggling that someone was able to craft a spell and put the following copyright notice on the spell. Copyright, King of Blackrock, 598 CY.
CY. What year scale is CY? As we use DR in the Forgotten Realms, at least we have for the last while.
Nimbar looks over like, I don't know. You sure it's not a footnote referencing something else? To which your character is like, no, probably not. That's a year.
Yeah. DY. That's interesting. It's far removed enough that it's not even using like the same calendar.
Lulu would lean over to Flux and she'd whisper, "Oh my god, it's from the future."
Oh.
So, one that grants wisdom, one that removes the burden. That kind of feels like this is a choice where one is... although wisdom itself is kind of a nebulous thing, right? Depending on the philosophies of who...
Lily, do you know that it's from the future, or are you just guessing that it's from the future?
He blinks a few times. Well, 598's bigger than 493, so I just can't assume. Wait a second. Lulu says, 1493, right? A full millennium has passed. It's from the past. Lulu, because the DM messed up, got that one backwards. We'll say it's from that brain freeze she was suffering. Oh god. Because it's 1493 DR, and she's like, 598? That's from the past. But to clarify on that one, Julian, Lulu's the only one who's mentioned it being from a different time. Though that's... Did
I say out loud that it might be from another dimension?
No, we missed that one.
Okay, I think I muted myself by accident.
So Flux points out that it might be from another dimension.
Yeah, we had theorized on that a little bit, that maybe it's we didn't say dimension, but we thought maybe it was different worlds, maybe, but definitely
well, didn't we get confirmation that the person who conquered that city or whatever was from another world or something like that?
Well, that
Mavis?
could be from a different, it could be from a different crystal sphere, or hell, with shenanigans, it could even be from a different timeline, who knows? It definitely could be
just because we can't get anywhere either, it makes me think some fuckery is going on.
Yeah. Oh, we are in hell. There's all sorts of fuckery that could be upon us.
Yeah, for sure.
So, looking at this and kind of considering, we've got one that grants wisdom and one that removes the burden. Something I will say is that I don't know if this came through, because I did notice my mic also kind of went crazy for a moment. So I don't know if this had come through earlier. I mused that wisdom isn't necessarily, depending on how it's interpreted by the person who wrote this, wisdom can mean a lot of things. I assume this is some sort of choice in a way, these two archways, but it's difficult to discern. You know what I mean? I don't see any indication of what means what, right?
Nope.
Yeah. So it's difficult to discern which is which. Only that one provides one thing and one provides what I assume is the opposite.
Nimbar gives a shrug. I sent my mind through it, but it didn't. Nah, and he gives his temple another rub. Oh my god.
My assumption is with a spell like this that it's probably, if it's complex enough to have commenting in the spell, it's probably smart enough to be able to discern the difference between, you know, something like magic mind and a person.
Before I forget, as you have now analyzed this spell entirely, you are able to reproduce the effects of this spell blanking spell only on spells that have a duration of longer than 24 hours. Any sort of permanent spell. You can take an extra hour while casting it to cast this spell on top of it. However, as mentioned, you have to include the copyright in the spell or it won't function.
And I'll respect the original artist, you know. It's something this interesting is definitely worth you know, crediting for.
It's weird magic. Weird. Now the question is, what are you going to do about the altars? What's everyone thinking in regards to that one?
So they look like portals you can walk through.
Oh, I called them portals again. I meant to say archways.
Archways.
Archways you can just walk straight through. They see through. You can see the walls behind them. It's just one glows green and another glows purple.
Just add a note there to my character sheet that I have learned that particular skill, and also that I must include the copyright.
Yep. Weirdest thing you've ever seen in a spell, for it to be built in such a way that it won't function without it, as if those words were magical, but they don't do anything to the spell. Ingenious in its design, in simplicity, and in its care, because it doesn't require any extra components on top of whatever spell you're casting. You just modify the words basically by adding a footnote to the spell.
Definitely an interesting. It fits with the theme of that this whole place has had of like just excess of magic, magic being used in such like incredibly over the top ways for, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever mage or mages were behind most of this definitely were quite powerful. Probably quite dead at this point too, but knowing my kind, that's not always a barrier to continued presence either.
Oh, and I will say, as you're making your decision, Nimbar's gonna walk up, look between the two archways, give his left arm a slow rub and shake his head. Someone else's turn. You know, because he got chopped off.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a risk to this, especially because frankly, I do not, I can't give any sort of, holy shit, I just realized a very scary combo. What is it? There's definitely, how do I put it? I don't have any indication of what might be the right choice, only that one grants wisdom, the other removes the burden. Depending on your interpretation of wisdom, there could be quite a lot of risk in this. So, we might want to be very careful with this.
Is there, if you walk up between the two portals, is there any discernible smells coming from them?
Give me a perception check.
Okay. Can I guide myself?
Yep.
Awesome.
Druid looks towards the wizards as he's walking by, holds a finger up. Let me show you the way of nature.
Nature has not been kind.
With a 17 total on your perception checks as you sniff the air casually, despite the cold, bitter sting, you find that the tree, oh my god, I saw it was colored green, looked down, and I'm like, it's a tree! Oh man. You find that the green-tinted portal has a slight earthen scent to it. Why not? Like trees.
Yeah.
Has a slight earthen scent to it, like new growth, like nature, like springtime. The purple one has a very distinct scent, more like a perfume of lilacs and lilies, but not such natural in its design. The scent coming off from it much more refined and created and crafted.
Huh.
Do you know what's kind of horrifying and something that Isaac would never do, but he could theoretically do with this, since he has this now?
What, push Alec in?
Oh no, I meant with the spell blanking.
Yeah, you
he
said
could put
horrifying, I had to say it.
He could put a geese on somebody and then blank it to make it like to conceal the fact that he's done it, which is actually has like incredibly strong moral like problems. Geese already has any sort of charm spell like that has a very like like a lot of the school of enchantment in general has a lot of like really serious moral issues with it.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard good arguments that enchantment in fact is more evil of a spell school than necromancy, and I kind of agree.
It's one thing to just outright kill someone or bring them back from the dead. It's another to take the being's free will away.
Yes.
It's considered the ultimate of evil usually for a lot of these things. I mean, if you send someone to hell, it's best said in a Spider-Man novel, actually. Or not a novel, it's a story, where it's Mephisto. Now, wasn't a big fan of the story that they did, but at one point he says to Peter, basically, well, I'll do this for you, and Peter's like, then you can take my soul to hell, and he goes, no, that's not how this works, that's annoying. I take one of your heroic souls to hell because in trade, all you do is you suffer righteously for millennia. It's boring. I got a bit of a laugh out of that way of looking at it.
Yeah, that is good. That is good. I like that.
So he's like, I need something better, and then they did other stuff. And two archways. One smells of trees, and the other of elderberries. I had to say it.
I'm going to conjure a hamster and see which one it goes towards. Nah.
For the elderberries. Oh god. One smells of nature, the other smells of perfume, essentially.
Oh, so very tempted to walk through that green portal archway.
There's quite the danger to it, though.
That's why you crazy one do it. Purple or green?
Oh god.
Well, here's my reasoning. The perfume, the artificial smelling one has tried to manufacture the smell of flowers, create a kind of perfume. Whereas like the other one just is just.
I see where you're coming from, but keep in mind the people who made this place are also the types of people to turn animals into statues and to build in excess. They might not necessarily have the same views of, the value of the natural that you do.
Lulu, meanwhile, is sniffing the flowery one and steps back a bit and gives a nod. She goes, oh my word, it reminds me, a lot of the Celestials used to have different smells of flowers. Perfumes was something we fought over up there to get the most beautiful and decadent and best smelling one. She gives a bit of a pause. She looks side on towards Flux. I should clarify. Devils absolutely hate the smell, so we wanted to make them throw up in combat. It was flippin' awesome.
Really? They hate the smell of perfume?
They don't like the pretty things.
Why didn't you tell me sooner? I have a bottle or two.
She blinks a few times. Well, you were in hell. They're walking around that ick and dack and muck, and they're like, this smells good. And I mean, I figured it was obvious. Lulu blinks a few times, looks back towards Jade. Oh, but if you got some perfume, when we head back, we gotta spray Gargoth right in the face. So, Lulu shenanigans aside, I believe you were saying Jade was gonna try something crazy? Or was it Alex who was gonna do it?
We're just debating on whether green or purple. Because from a nature point of view, nature grants wisdom, but this is Blackrock where they crafted everything, so the wisdom of crafting could be in play here, which would mean you would go for the perfume.
They might consider it to be the wisdom of man over, you know, the ignorance of natural order, right? They definitely have the arrogance from everything that we've seen, right?
Lulu takes a moment, shuffles her trunk into one of Jade's bag of holdings, not sneakily at all. She comes back out with a platinum piece, goes, oh, I was looking for a copper, okay. Holds it over towards Jade. Well, if you got no better idea, heads one, tails the other. Or in the terms of the dice rolls, one is green, two is purple is Lulu's recommendation. She gives a pause though, says, I'm not volunteering though, this is just an idea, and then trots away quickly, hiding behind Flux.
You're, I mean, you guys are right. It could be a trick. Because it's the obvious solution. But then what if it's like a double deception? It's wise not to overthink things, but maybe it's unwise to, oh, we're just going to get stuck in a loop.
At the end of the day, we have very little information to go on. We're making an uninformed choice either way, and that's a scary thing to do in this type of situation, particularly with magics this powerful. My thoughts would be to avoid it entirely, but that's only me. You know, I won't stop one of you if you believe that this is something that you feel like you need to test.
Oh, it's pure. Jade is curious about all magic. This is magic in front of him that he has never seen before. Yeah. He needs to test it.
Well,
like Isaac will happily observe the results. He just, you know, he wants to warn about the very obvious risks involved, right?
How about this then, Jade? You do one, I'll do the other. Because as the very wise wizard once told me, sometimes you just got to follow your nose, and Alec will walk through the green one.
Oh, jeez, alright.
As Alec walks through the green one before I say the result, is Jade walking through the purple one at the same time?
Oh god.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go, control. We gotta study both, alright, so.
Alright. I do have the perfect meme for this one. Both. The both.
Oh, yeah.
I love that it actually works for letting me do these things now. So, I don't know why there's a V in that one. I just copied it from a Google search. As you walk into the archway, it's a rather peculiar feeling you both receive. Your body tingles, and you can feel the sensation as the magic surges through you. Interestingly, it almost looks like the world around you warps as this happens. Interesting for those watching, the archway would twist and turn as if a reflection in the water, rippled by a rock being thrown. And you notice your friends who stepped into these archways are stepping out of the archways. Somehow this twisting and turning having flipped them around so they literally walk through it to end up right where they started. But that might not be what's catching your attention. It's the effects on their bodies. First for Jade, as he notices his fur beginning to change from its usual black color to a matte gray as it begins to fade, falling as he turns to bald patches, his skin turning thin, writhe, as if falling off the bone as he ages. You see an old tabaxi man standing before you, maybe 100 years, 150, 200. DM doesn't know what the old age is for one of the tabaxi, but he's going to say really high. As for Alec, a similar process is undergoing on his body as you see. He shrinks, becoming smaller, skin tightening on his face as his age regresses, and within moments, nothing more than a baby, standing where the two were before a flash. All of this happening in but a moment. And you see both of them standing there, completely unharmed, looking completely normal as they would. However, there are some changes, gentlemen. The trip through age, Jade, has not left you unaffected. You have now restored 2 spell slots of any level, if you have any that are used. If not, no effect. Alec, you notice as you look over your body and you make a fist that it doesn't crack anymore. Your elbow doesn't have that ache in it for years anymore. Your back feels fresh and new. And all your hit points have been restored.
We should have done opposite portals.
Fascinating effect, though. As a time mage, I'm particularly interested watching all of this. That's you know, it's actually very similar to a certain spell that I have. Only
can confirm that that's
more temporary.
Definitely some form of warped time magic. For sure.
Now I'm very interested in this place, because if they have practiced this kind of magic, then this is definitely the kind of thing that I want to see more of. I want to try and find more of. Isaac has now become a part of the Explore Every Corridor gang. Congratulations.
Anyone else gonna step through the portals? Portals again, I call them portals. Through the archways?
They could have negative effects. We could have just been lucky this time and got positive effects.
Or simply, they might be designed in a way to, you know, to work one way the first time and then to not, you know, work the same way subsequently.
Or take from the next person to step through.
It would be, it's definitely dangerous. I'd love to take, you know, like more time, like days even, to study this, but unfortunately I don't think that's feasible. But brilliant spell. That's I know how to age somebody to the point of near death, but I don't know how to do that and then immediately bring them back, right? That's not without even more magic layering on top of it.
And I will say, as all this is being discussed and theorized, Jade, you have now the lingering feeling like you just lived a whole life and obtained the knowledge of it, while Alec, you feel as though the burdens and pain of the life you've lived are so much lighter, like you've been given a second new life, another chance at it, so to speak. It's the same sort of feeling from a pure-on high-grade resurrection spell, you know, like, wow, a second chance. But it's like your whole body's been completely refreshed. Unless you had any very, very, very memorable scars that meant a lot to your character, the mental bond between that and the image of self would prevent any form of healing restoration that would be passive. You know what I mean? Like, if this was back in the mid-90s, you'd be like, my character has a scar over his left eye, okay? That doesn't go away.
Yeah, I think the only scars that Alec has is the ones you've given him. So they're yeah, I still sometimes do that. when I'm in a character creator is the cheeky wee eye scar.
Oh, I have
But
to. It's been with us for way too long. It's just the easy go-to one. That and one on the cheek, or right between and across the eyes, Final Fantasy VIII style.
yeah, yep. You have no idea how disappointed I was when I got a scar underneath my left eye, and it's just like a straight line that's hidden by my glasses. I'm like, oh man.
I can honestly say I've never noticed it, so
Yeah.
there you go.
I'm saying it's right beneath the rim of my glasses. It's really annoying.
I
almost lost an eye, nothing to show for it.
Oh geez, only thing I've got is right beside my nose. I have one. You can't see it because it's at the base of my nose. But I detached my nose on that area when I was a kid. I'll spare details. That's not something you need to hear. But it healed up perfectly, and I don't even have a scar from it. And I'm like, well, that's okay, but no one's ever going to believe me. Oh my! But right there on the eyes. Well, it's nice that your glasses block it, but at the same time, you can't be like, hey, check this out.
Yeah, so I need to make a proper show of it, and it's like it's faded now, so everyone's like, "Oh, I can't see anything." I'm like, "God damn it!"
On the other flip of that too, you don't have a big scar on your face, right?
I know it's a childish RPG thing to want the.
I think it's a guy thing.
Yeah.
If you have some big old scar on your chin, people are like, "How'd you get that?" And you'd be like, "Oh man, it was something epic." But really, it was like, "Oh man, I was playing with an aluminum tin can and slipped."
I did genuinely get stabbed in the face. That is how I got my scar.
Don't get me wrong. It's when I make reference, usually guys do something silly and we get injured for it. But that's actually were you doing your reenactments when you got hit?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even better. It's an actual war scar.
It was just a training session and that happened, but it's funny because the accident and emergency, they were asking what happened is that I get stabbed with a sword, and they put stabbed with a saw because they just it didn't enter, it wouldn't process. Nobody uses swords anymore. What are you talking about? Saw.
Oh man, stabbed with a saw. It's like, no, it wasn't on that movie, thank God. It was the reenactment. It was a sword, a real sword. Well, that's also something you can brag up, is you've been stabbed by a real sword. I can say that's never happened to me. I have a fake katana under my bed from back in high school from like 20 years ago. But it's too dull to do anything with, so you know. That's as close as I've ever come, man. Hunting knives don't count. That's just me being a silly kid, but damn. It's like that picture from the other week where you're chasing after that poor guy and you look like you're 7'9". Freaking loved it. And the way he's running, he has that run like, you're not gonna catch me, but you're gonna. Oh.
And I did. Oh. I mean, it might have had something to do with the arena being roped off, but I feel like I had the passion that day.
Not bad. Already, I've gone on a bit of a tangent here. With that in mind, I will pose the question again. Anybody wanting to walk through those archways?
I'll just keep taking notes if anybody does. I actually probably have my like a notebook and a sketchbook out, and I'm like, while this was happening, I was probably detailing it as much as I could.
I think, and at a glance on Nimbar's character sheet, he's only missing a level 3 spell slot. I just hover over to see if that's up to par. He'd be rubbing his jaw like, I'm not sure it's worth the risk for a fireball since I don't like using fire spells.
Would it work on simulacrums?
Oh.
Did you just find a broken way to restore the spells to a simulacrum?
Oh god, that would be terrifying.
Yeah, like you said. Sorry, ooh, I was eating and I was not on mute. I'm sorry, you guys. I could just be funny if you just sent one of the simulacrums in and it's just like a pile of snow that comes out.
That is a theoretical risk of using a simulacrum for something like that. And Jillian, no worries, when you were eating, I didn't hear nothing. I think there was a little bit of a rattle at one point and I was like, oh, I wonder what that was, but nothing, don't worry.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like Bellamy would do something, but I genuinely cannot predict what that would be. All I know is that something would definitely happen. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, she'd probably go in one.
And she's injured. Has she used any of her spell slots?
Yeah, I'm looking at her Beyond sheet. She's used 3 first level and a 4th level, and she's missing 7 hit points.
Bellamy gives her jaw a rub, starts walking forward, passes the violin over to Jade. She's wearing thick, heavy gloves. She's holding it by a slightly burnt edge and holding you the bottom piece. Hold this for a moment, would you, buddy? She walks right through the purple portal. She's like, it looked fine for you guys. Warps, and you see Bellamy turns old. Because you all said she'd do it, so I'm doing it. You can blame me next week if this goes poorly, but fortunately it doesn't. Same effect, the portal twists, turns, and throws her right back out the way she comes in, as if she walked that way. It's almost like seeing somebody traverse a Mobius strip, the oddest thing. However, Bellamy ages. She wrinkles in the face ever so slightly as she arches forward, as you see the back starts to go. On the plus side, however, given that Bellamy's sitting on a 19 for charisma, she ages with such grace and beauty and dignity that when she's like 110, she's like that lady on the Bowflex commercial. You know the one. From way... Oh god, she's probably a lot older now. God, that's... I was gonna say, some people don't believe I'm a grandma. I'm 50 years old on the Bowflex. Essentially, that's Bellamy's character for a split second before, pop, she comes back out. Shakes her head a little bit and says, whoa, well that was a trip, I want to do it again. And regains back 2 spell slots. We'll give her that 4th level back and one of her 1st levels back, right?
Cool.
However, because you all say Bellamy would be the wild child, you'd know she'd run through it again. You hear a thunk as she hits the ice wall on the other side of the archway, turns back, rubbing the side of her head as she walks through back and forth a few times like, well, maybe it's a one-time shot, guys.
Interesting.
I may have gone a little overboard, but I kind of, you know, if you want the truth,
sounds on brand.
Yeah.
Did she try running into the other one and it turned to ice, or she tried running back in the purple one?
Back for the purple one to get back more of those spell slots, because she's like, ooh, freebies, and wham, right into the wall.
I can see her going to the other one as well.
Oh yeah. And she'll do the same walk, which means you'll all get to see teenage Bellamy for a half a second. And I'm going to be cruel at this point and say poor Bellamy had the acne as a teenager, and it all just comes back in full force for a second, and she's like, oh no! Just for a split second. She had that unfortunate 6 months before she became a swan with that 19 goddamn charisma, holy god. And then pop, she comes back out with her health fully restored. That's going to make her day.
So you can only qualify once for each of them, it seems. That's a...
As she hops through that portal as well, she's like, it seems that way. And then she's like, but hang on, there's more. And she goes through the purple one again. But nothing happens. She snaps her fingers, muttering that she really wanted those 1st level spell slots, you know what I mean?
Well...
But I will tip my hat to the party. I would agree, I could actually see Courtney doing pretty much exactly that.
I'm gonna...
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna turn to my simulacrum and kind of go like, well... Knowing that, you know, your life here is limited ultimately, do you want to take a try for scientific curiosity's sake?
Isaac's simulacrum holds up a finger first, or Isaac's, my word. Nimbar's simulacrum, where's that at? Holds up a finger first, however, and says, well, on that note, we should analyze which one of the two of us is more disposable at the moment, I suppose, would be the logical thing to say in this scenario. And the other Nimbar says, yes, that is the very logical thing to say in this scenario. The disposability of one of ours is the thing to analyze, because we do risk losing them in the singular scenario. Yes, indeed, we couldn't... This continues. The question is, between your 2 simulacrums, who's got more damage, who's got more spells available, who do you want to risk? Because Flux made a great point, didn't she?
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Like, she made an extremely smart point about it. It's just that, you know, with this being the kind of magic that it is, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's definitely that, that like urge to explore it and to...
Oh,
I'm gonna say probably that I don't think that we should put Johns in. Just because he's not here. He can't make that decision.
Yeah,
so I'm just going to go ahead and say that.
I was going to add that as a footnote. I was going to mention that even though John's always on top of the calculations for doing things as min-max and calculative as possible in these scenarios, I can't in good conscience risk his character.
Yes.
Simulacrum. That's the tricky thing. So, hat tip to Jillian on that one. Exactly.
And
the other thing is, John's Simulacrum is the one that's continually casting Bonfire for us.
Yep.
Yeah, and I feel like, too, that Isaac's Simulacrum being an Isaac would like, have that scientific curiosity as well. Like, he would have the urge to discover, like, exactly how this works. You know what I mean? Like, he would, like, time-related magic is essentially the domain of, like, how do I put it? Like, it's everything to Isaac, right? Like, this study.
Oh, yeah.
So, he definitely would have that, like, it's kind of a thing of, like, making the sacrifice for the, you know what I mean? Making a sacrifice for the, for it, right?
Other Isaac's like,
good.
I'm going to, and he gives a big wink, sacrifice, because, you know, it's a simulacrum, right?
Yeah, and he has the understanding, too. Like, he's had the understanding this whole time that he's, you know what I mean? That, like, he's a simulacrum, and he's like, his life isn't a, permanent thing. He's here to serve a role, essentially, and then one day, like, you know, cease to be, probably, right? He doesn't live Isaac's life.
If you're going to do it, don't do green, because green progresses backwards, so
Yes.
therefore it would turn him back into snow, and there's no guarantee that he would come back after that. Whereas if the purple one has been aging us and then bringing us back, so as long as he doesn't expend all his spell slots, there's a chance that he could live to be old.
Well, we'll try. We'll try the aging one first. We'll see how that goes.
And as your simulacrum walks through the purple portal, the purple archway. God, I'm really off today.
Yeah, it's been Portal almost every time so far.
Yep, I catch myself every damn time too, but it's still
Yeah.
walks through the archway, turns around a little bit, gives a shrug, walks back forward. He goes, no effect.
Well, that in itself is information, right? That's
Kieran breathes a sigh of relief. He's like, wow, I didn't get hit with the unlucky today, thank God.
That's interesting. So it does discriminate between, a true person and, no offense, but an imitation. Well, it is a very well woven spell.
You can understand why they hid the spell.
Okay, the question becomes then, are we going to send anyone else through?
Well, I mean, Bellamy seemed okay after running through both twice. So, I'm tempted to get a couple of spell slots back. That's more like as a player. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think Alec would be tempted to push his luck twice, so I probably would. Well, shall we depart these arches and pick a new direction?
Left or right?
I always tend to lean a little bit more to the right in these situations.
Any other opinions or decisions on which way or anything else happening here?
Yeah, I don't care. Although, are we sending Nimbar's thing forward?
Yep.
Is that what we're deciding?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
if we should go left or right first? Okay.
That's what we
Right.
did. It's just we're
Right.
only moving my mini because it's easier to have one mini move around than try and keep everyone going.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's right's fine. It doesn't... I imagine we're gonna end up looking down both ways, so may as well start right and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as you make your way down the right, and don't worry too much about moving all the other minis. Like Dan said here, it's moving one mini is simply the ease of all of this. But as you make your way around the right, you see the hallway continues stretching out a long, slow pathway. Lulu exhales a sigh of relief at this, but says, "Oh, wonderful! A straight line is so much easier." As she flaps along, tugging on the ropes to pull Flux. It's the fun thing to think. Everyone has their fun ways. You've got a Nimbar walking upside down on the ceiling. Alec walking by like ice isn't that bad. Come on. Same with Jade. He's doing the crawl by, but as you come up further, you notice again the path diverges left and right. The left leads to a southern hallway, and to the right we have another sort of splitting room, widening, turning, and twisting.
Room.
Well,
Right?
I mean, I feel like going right because we know the direction of the exit is right, but it's also a maze, so it kind of makes that gut feeling kind of moot. I don't know. I'd be happy to coin flip this one.
Fair.
Unless, of course, we think left might just loop us back around.
Barring information to make an informed choice, the decision really isn't truly a decision. It's, you know, we're either going one way or we're going the other, and it'll turn out one way or it'll turn out the other.
Yep. I'll stick my vote to right. If
We can try right, certainly.
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright.
Oh wait, no, it's not alright. As you make your way around, you soon find something rather surprising, taking the twists and the turns to the right. Across a hallway into the next larger room that you can see. The floor is deeper here, and the ice hides something dark and dreary. What appears to be a gigantic snake, easily 100 feet long, hard to tell with it coiled up beneath the ice. You can see it frozen, staring upward.
Does it move?
Nope. Seems quite still.
Although, being a snake, that's not a... You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Is Nimbar reporting this back in real time?
Oh, yeah.
Is that how we've been doing it? Okay. So, Flux will suggest making some noise, like a loud noise, to see if the snake reacts to that. Or if it's just staring at the manifest mind. That's what I'm thinking is happening.
Or the poor thing could simply be frozen in its torture.
Yeah, it could be for sure, but making a
yes.
sound would be one way to figure out if it's going to react or not.
Yep, no, definitely.
With that, you suddenly hear a violin that very loud pitch as Bellamy hammers on it. She pauses, says, well, I wanted to try the new one. I figured this was a good use. She winces a little bit, though, as she's flicking at the finger guard, due to the fact that it still is embering. But the loud noise generated by her violin does not seem to rouse the snake from slumber. It remains under the ice.
I throw a rock in.
Great suggestion. I would also, I mean, if it is just a giant snake and is not magical, I wouldn't rightly know a reptile could survive in an ice maze, ice maze, because it would need to have evolved to become magical somehow, because they
Yes, but this place is caked in all kinds of magic, so who knows if it's actually alive or not. And just waiting for one of us to step in there so it can jump out and attack us.
It's a really powerful magic.
Yeah. So
Did you throw the rock, Dan?
Yeah, I threw a rock in.
And as it clatters across the ice and skids to the other side, nothing happens.
That snake dead, yo.
I'm just gonna go ahead.
well, it sounds like it seems like it's frozen in solid ice then.
Like it's underneath the ice.
Yeah, because Alan just said that the stone clattered across the ice, so it must be.
It's under the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I will say that I wouldn't count on that rock being a guarantee of anything, though. The people who designed this place are smart enough that they very well could have designed any sort of trap with the intention.
I would like to check the doorway to see if there's any kinds of mechanisms that would close.
Okay.
You can do a quick perception check on that one. Kieran's giving out some warnings. Jade's like, oh hell, I got this. One second.
It's just my idea is that like it's smart to kind of assume that like
that is a 24. It's not taking in the reliable talent.
Just because it didn't react to the rock doesn't necessarily mean that it won't react to a living presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understood what you meant, Kieran.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the rock's a rock. Magic, however, is proven that it requires a little more speciality. Like the Archways. They won't do crap for nobody. That being said, as Jade scours the area, he doesn't see any sort of locking or closing mechanism here for the doorway. It appears safe. Then glancing into this room, you can also see lots of storage and storehousing beneath the thick, heavy ice.
Like above how can we see it if, like,
the floor
on
is
the
frozen
wall?
solid. It's on the ground beneath the ice. Because there's about 10 foot of ice underneath your feet, right?
Yeah, so it's like looking. Yeah.
So the snake is under the ice, and then also there's a bunch of boxes underneath the ice?
Yep.
There's another snake as well that you can see far to the west side of that room, as well frozen under the ice.
Well, knowing this place wasn't originally frozen, and knowing that these might have just simply been here in this room, and however this was dragged here, and this freezing happened, this led to these poor creatures being locked away in the ice.
And I will say for Jade,
Flux is just...
Oh, sorry.
It's okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I will say for Jade's curiosity, right up there's a treasure chest in the ice.
Now, our resident druid, would you be able to... is there anything you could do to perhaps see if these snakes are living or not? For the sake of caution.
Best you can tell from a glance is they're frozen under the ice.
Yeah.
Magically.
Nothing that would get through 10 feet of ice, I don't think.
And with the mention of the organic
Fluxel.
versus... Oh, sorry. Go right ahead, Jillian.
No, go ahead, Alan.
Oh, I was just going to say, something to consider. John would probably send his manifest mind in there where it's not organic, to see if there'd also be triggers. But you were about to say something, Jillian?
Here's generally what I'm gonna say about this whole thing. We have been in this maze for what feels like days. And honestly, we found a lot of really cool stuff, and I like the idea of exploring. But don't we have shit to do? Like, do we need to explore every nook and cranny, or can we just try to find an exit? Because I'm ready to not be in the maze anymore.
That's fair, that's fair.
Well, I mean, we're just exploring the stuff we come across. We've not went down every pathway.
Yeah, but it's a dead end though, right? Like, it's snakes and then storage and then a dead end. Like, it doesn't lead anywhere.
And a chest.
Well, there's a pathway over this here, it looks like.
Yeah. Let's see. So it's not a dead end?
Nimbar's manifest mind, he offers to send it in. Because you know John would. He'd be like, well, send a mind, it's not going to get hurt.
Sure.
Glancing into the room, it is not a dead end. There is a different path leading out from this room as well. I'm just going to pull his manifest mind back, just to get the full range of the room. But as it wandered on top of the ice and walked through, nothing else in that room seemed to change any.
Yeah, I don't have anything that would get through the ice to reach those snakes. I mean, there's stuff like talk with animals, but they're frozen if they're still alive. I've heard about some reptiles that can eventually... Well, I don't even know if they're reptiles, but some cold-blooded creatures that can basically freeze themselves and wake up when they get out of the ice, but... I mean, if it's long enough for the maze not to remember, that's a very, very long time. And they're definitely look like they were real. They're not just like one of those really well-carved statues.
Oh yeah, they definitely look like they were real.
Do you guys want me to be the crash test dummy? I can try to crawl my way across the ice to the next door. We've thrown a rock, we've sent Manifest Mind. There's a passage on the other side. I'm not putting Lulu at risk, but I've got health and stuff, so I can just scoot ahead and let you know if anything reacts.
Certainly, if you're willing to take the risk, like
They can just go.
Well, it's up to you, man.
Jake could be the new leader for Flux. Technically speaking.
Yeah, I'm just not like magical stuff. I don't fuck with like the gates, but if it's just walking through a room first, I would happily do that if you guys would like me to. Is all I was saying.
Certainly, if you're willing to take the risk, I don't see any reason to say no, right? Like,
and balance on top of the
ice you can go.
All that stuff. I will say, if you go at half speed with a hand on a wall, you wouldn't have to worry about falling.
Right. Okay. And Jade, you can go instead if you want. I'm just. We have lots of treasure. Just want to get going.
Yeah.
Julian sees Flux sees a treasure chest. She looks at Jade. She's like, "We're already rich. What's another 500 gold?" So if you both would like to traverse the room, then you could make your way across slowly. Jade, you can basically dance the whole room probably during that time because you're a Tabaxi with a bajillion speed plus a bajillion speed, right? And I will say, as Flamanoxus sets out a foot slowly into the room behind you as well, or beside you, or in front of you, I don't know, doesn't really matter for marching order. With a hand on the wall, Flux, you find no trouble walking from where you presently stand across the line here to the next area. No response from the snakes below the ice. Though, what you see when you break free of this room in the next area, it would be a little different. Before I do that, I wanted to double check if you'd be going that far.
I mean, I'll ask Jade if he wants to check the door to see if this door is gonna slam shut on us.
Alrighty.
Okay.
See, that's why I asked first. So I'll bring you up to par for about where you'd be then, because you don't have to worry about traps or nothing. If I do that, you know you're in a... Oh god, Jade.
That still counts as a roll of a 10. That's a 24.
You don't see any form of closing walls or anything built into the ice. Nothing that should trap as you go through.
Okay, we should be okay.
And by all means...
Can I peer around the corner to see if there's anything coming?
Yep. The sight that you are beholden to...
I'll do that.
Take a look around said corner. I'm just going to move your mini so you can see around the corner. A red glow basks from the end of a hallway just outside your vision, further down. Lulu is going to look around the corner
I will...
back here and sort of shout, is it okay if I fly over now? You know, she's mostly her way of saying, hey, can I catch up and go back to dragging you along again?
Yeah. I want you to, but there's a weird red glow and it's pretty close, so maybe we should make sure this is okay before you put yourself at risk, okay, Lulu?
And she's giving the nod and the okay symbol with her trunk, because she ain't got fingers, right? And of course, you do have the available option of Nimbar's Manifest Mind to send that forward. It's a little limited on how far the team is able to get away from each other, though, because as mentioned, probably, well, the bonfire would be over here at this point. The warmth would barely be hitting you where you presently are. You're always stuck in about one area close to each other due to that.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be all right while I wait for everyone to cross the room.
The other flip of that is it's a con save, and, well, you're a fighter.
Yeah.
With a 20 constitution, you kind of blow that out the water usually for the cold. But as you peer down that hallway, you can feel free to move your mini up a couple steps and move it around. Just don't go past about here, and you won't have anything to worry about at the moment. Come on, there we are. By about that point.
Yeah, I just moved Flux up so people could get their tokens over.
Oh, definitely.
Alright.
Because as you move around and as you peer closer at the glow, you can see what almost looks to be lava cut into the floor, only warping and twisting ever so slightly. What appears to be the face of something staring up from the ground. Fire and magma forming the facial features as they twist and turn, staring towards you, but unmoving.
Detect magic?
Guys?
I'd like
a situation over here?
Yeah. As I get there, I'm going to detect magic because, wow.
Isaac just nodding at Flux like, yup, oh god damn. Out comes the stick.
But you know,
stay where you're at.
At this point in time, we all know what would happen. Hi, I'm Bellamy.
It's so true.
She peer around the corner. It's a face. Hi, I'm Bellamy. Unfortunately, nothing happens when she does that. She goes, oh, rude. Once
I hate to play anyone else's character for them, but just every new person, that's what she's done.
She really has. That's spot on. It's exactly what she'd do. Especially where it's non-combative at this point. But she wouldn't receive a response, and Isaac, you would note a big air of illusionary magic.
Illusionary magic, that's interesting. Doesn't necessarily mean it's benign, mind you, but...
I'll throw another rock.
It'll land and rattle across the ground, rolling on top of the lava-style design without what seems to be any effect or harm.
Is there any warmth coming from what looks like lava?
Nothing. You feel no warmth coming from it.
It makes sense if it's an illusion. I'm gonna take a step forward, if that's okay with everyone.
Sure.
Be careful, but yeah.
As the team creeps along, you can see the pathway continuing to the east as it twists north. And as you move further forward, you can see that the room with that strange designs on the floor, that menacing eyes that seem to follow you as you step, I'm gonna move flux this one, is in fact a closed-off sealed room with no other entrance or exit into or out of it. But as you can see, I didn't actually put your name in the room with that. Just pointing out that there's no exits. It's a closed hallway.
Right.
About 20 foot deep in either direction, but shaped like a little heart.
Alright, I'll tell Lulu, I'll give her the all clear to come back up.
Hello. She's just right beside you in a half second.
Behind me, Lulu! Behind me!
And she flaps along. Pops her head against your back, ready to push. She goes, I got you, don't worry. And don't mind me for a second, I'm just going to move Alex's token so I can grab these four and drop them about
I know.
here. Did I miss? Nope, I did miss. There we go. And meanwhile, Bellamy's standing there, hands on her hip. Rude. That works. I'll keep the tokens relatively close to each other this way. Oh shoot, I missed the spot. Every now and again you can see an error on the map from the big view. It's hard to catch them all. I built it from scratch, so... Fortunately, we can fix those. As you continue forward, ignoring the room with the glowing
Peering around the corner again.
From right here,
Not really
walking
going that
past,
far.
does my blind sense pick up anything? It goes out 10 feet.
Nothing in there. The room seems completely devoid. And as you peer around the next corner, you notice a path to the north that continues, or a path to the east, cut in the ice.
Can I go up and peer around the corner to the east and see what I see?
Certainly. It continues to warp around as you go. A twisty, turny, up and down
Is that
path.
looking down, that's a dead end, is it not?
Not quite. You can't see the edge here, but as you turn and look around the corner, you see it does continue in this direction. Twisting and turning.
I'm gonna peek around another corner.
The room widens as you approach from the west towards the east. And as you pop around the corner to peer further, you can see what appears to be a ruffling edge of fabric in the air, just at the edge of your vision.
I'll throw another rock.
And it rattles harmlessly across the ground, landing in the shadow cast by whatever is up ahead.
Guys, there's a weird curtain here.
Is there any smell coming from this illusionary bit? A lava bit?
No smell from it whatsoever.
Detect magic, looking at the curtain.
From where you presently stand looking upon the curtain, you don't sense or see any magic from it at all.
Hmm.
I could also say it's outside at 30 foot, but once you get close, you still see no magic.
Yeah.
I
not
will,
detecting anything.
I will point, as Flux draws ever closer to it, just because she's the one leading at the moment. You do notice the curtain is actually a flag, a very large, robust designed one, the sort you drape over a very tall building. However, it's frozen halfway in the ground. And you can see, and I'll move you a little closer again, because I know you're being careful to make sure nothing, oh shoot, I only moved a little bit. You're being careful to make sure not to jump anything or reveal anything, and I really appreciate that. So as you move, by the time you get to here, you also see another pathway that leads somewhat south with a very small entrance. Very hard to see from your present location. But the flag in question is its own little dedicated room. I won't move any closer with your mini. I'm just filling out your map to save you some time. But at this point, it's quite frozen in the ground. Only the top half of it fluttering softly in the wind. And you clearly notice...
Is there anything legible?
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Reading my mind. It's okay. I think I was just a little bit ahead of you there. Yeah, sorry.
You do notice the only legible thing on it is the same symbol on the chain mail that you earlier acquired. Most likely some identifier for the kingdom. Outside of that, nothing though. And as mentioned for Kieran, it gives off no magical aura.
I'm gonna go over and take the curtain, making sure, being very careful to keep Lulu behind me, just in case we need it later. Or take the flag, I mean.
Not too hard to pull up from the ice. Thanks to the very nature of cloth and ice, the ice crumbles around the base of it as you pull it up and free. But you are able to pull the flag, the flag free, no problem. It's a lot of material. Lulu pauses as you're pulling it all out. She goes, oh my word, wouldn't that make such the elegant cloak? I'm gonna have to do some stitching later.
Let's see if we need to use it first, Lulu, okay? And I'll give her a little rub on top of the head.
She goes, oh yeah,
so I'm just gonna write
after the dungeon.
for the purposes of shopkeeping, I'm just gonna write Blackrock Banner.
Yep.
Is that okay?
And I'm gonna pull that off the map so you know you've got. Actually, I'll leave it there because I'll probably forget if I don't. I was gonna remove it from the map. Okay. No, I'll leave that there so we know you took it. So it's been discovered, and you've got a big banner for the kingdom. Beyond that, as mentioned, you can see a very narrow hall here. Whether or not it continues is hard to tell, as you can't see the inside passage from where you're at.
I would ask Nimbar if it would be okay to send Manifest Mind through there. Take a peek.
Okay, Fergus.
Nimbar gives a nod as the Manifest Mind comes back. Oh no, it's a dead end. Don't worry. Nothing there.
The narrow passage?
Yep.
Okay, so this part is a dead end. That's good to know. Alright. So back up again?
The only path that remains in the present area would be to the north. Or wrapping all the way
again,
back.
just peeking around the corner.
I think this was the only other spot that in the area was back here. And that's not displayed very well, so I'm going to grab a mini and just drop it there to fill out the path somewhat.
Hey guys, I think I have to dip a bit early, sorry.
Oh, no worries, Kieran.
Yeah. See you guys next time. Thank you for the game. It was fun.
Alrighty, but we have yourself a good one. That, maybe... Well, did we want to call it here, then?
I mean, we still if you want to. I was just going to ask if what was... Yeah, I was just gonna ask what was around the corner.
As you breach around the corner, more pathway. I mean, we can still continue to sort out the maze a little bit, but where we're down another player, I'm indifferent for either way. Right now, you're still on the exploring side of things, so it's up to you how much more exploring you want to do right now. Because as mentioned, it's.
Well, I feel like doing another. Yeah, I feel like another 10 or 15 minutes of exploration probably wouldn't hurt, but we could We could. So yeah, I forgot to tell you because we were talking before the game. She texted me when we were on the walk, but she's actually not coming until 2 or after 2 now. Right. She was supposed to originally. She was supposed to come earlier at like 1:30, but it changed. Saying to Dan and Alan, who don't have the context that Dean has.
Oh, perfect. See, that was partially the reason I was also mentioning we could cut a little early. But if timing works well for you, by all means. I mean, it'd be different if we were mid-boss fight with Kieran jumping out. It'd be like, okay, hang on.
Yeah.
But if you want to keep exploring, by all means, there's a lot left.
Personally, I don't mind going a little bit further. Not doing anything major. Like, if we get into a combat, obviously we're not going to continue with that. But just maybe just unlocking a few more corridors. Just because I just feel so useless when we're doing just general exploration like this, because Flux doesn't really have a lot to contribute. So I'm kind of ready to...
Well, you say that, but there's a lot of situations where the little pieces made a big difference. It kind of cycles between the players, I find, for these things now. There's been a few times your strengths made the difference, and admittedly, if at one point you're like, no, I want to go that way in this dungeon, you've proven your character is the one who can chop through one of these walls.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, but I'd like to hear what... Yeah, I'd like to hear what Dan and Dean think. If you guys want to stop here, that's fine with me as well. I'm really not too set on anything, really.
I'm fine going ahead until we find, like, something big to...
yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, we're just mapping out...
Yeah.
Alright then, Jillian.
Yeah.
You grab your token and continue on. Don't worry too much about stopping. Just keep exploring with your character. I will describe as we go.
Okay.
Because as you can
see, I just...
You're grabbing 2 once.
Oh, it's being funny. I know, yeah, I got them together now, though.
You know, it kills me sometimes messing around with the multi-tokens. But as you continue to go now towards the east and south, the path continues to wrap around and twist and turn. And before you see it once again,
any changes?
north.
Were there any changes in temperature, any new smells or sounds or anything?
No major changes that alert you, but as you travel north, you see the path beginning to branch in multiple different directions and ways. And on that note, as you travel north, give me a perception check.
Ooh, I'm not very good at those. Well, right, I'm not terrible, but I'm not great. It's my first roll of the day, folks.
Oh, sorry. I said perception. I meant survival, but it's the exact same for your character. As you look down this hallway with a glance.
Well, actually, it's not because. Oh yeah, no, it is. Sorry, yeah, you're right. Sorry, I forgot I was proficient in survival. Sorry, Alan.
As you look down the hallway, you recognize as somewhere you've been because, oh shoot, that light got changed. Solely because, maybe I made a botch up here, just a sec for me to fix this. The pillar of see-through ice in this area you recall from your earlier ventures in the northwestern corner of the map. You can see all through it in this one spot here, but it's still solid, and that's the giveaway why your survival can catch that one. So you know you've already been down this way, led to a way that you already were.
Okay.
Which I will report back to everyone. I thought it might loop back around again. I had a feeling.
So that is one of the pathways you could have taken quite some time ago, but has led you back now to where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And as you move further north, you can see a very thin passage, even couple steps to the north of that, a very thin hallway up ahead.
Once again, might ask Nimbar to send his manifest mind in and peek through.
And with a peek, he sees absolutely nothing except a long, cold hallway. Nothing of note in that area.
Okay.
And here you reach the more twisty, turny, longer hallways of this area as you make your way through the path towards the north as it twists around. A small hall to get through as the wall makes it a tight passage. But again, nothing seems to stand out to your character as you casually make your way now through this dungeon with Lulu giving you a shove from behind. Constantly pushing with a mutter like, "Oh, I think there'll be enough hallways. Who built this? I ain't got the time for any of this. Oh, my poor wings. I just want to be like, this is too long. Who made a maze? I'm gonna find my way out. There better be a prize, like in a box of Cracker Jack. You know, you open it up, there's a little toy inside. Oh, what's this?" Lulu says as the team makes it to the next zone in this area. And you can see the pathway splitting up ahead. Both north, west, and east, wrapping around itself, it seems. The decision then becomes which direction to go. Or if you want us to shoot the manifest mind in any direction.
What do you guys think, Dan and Don? Dean? God.
Well,
I mean, we did say we weren't going to make any big decisions, so the fact that we just cleared, like, an empty hallway with exploration, and now we're faced with another decision of which way to go. Would this be a good place to stop?
I'm only going to point this out because, logically speaking, Jade has no clue because he hasn't been here yet. I joined Tyler's.
Oh, well, Flux... Sorry, Flux would have been narrating, like, she would have been sharing as much information as Alan's been giving us, so I wouldn't be holding anything back. I would have said, "Oh, look, Jade, it loops back around, we were just through there," and then kept going.
Put a hand on Jade's shoulder and she'd be looking off with sort of a sage-like glance. "Yep, there was a pool there. I thought it would be nice and comfy and good, and I dived in and almost froze to death." Big smile on her face. "Good times." Keeps walking.
And I shoved you in. Warm her up.
Oh, that was a good time. Shoved her in a bag of holding. My God, it worked though.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. I watched the video. I listened to the video.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember you were saying. Anyway, yeah, we would be filling Jade in just because I've been quiet. Doesn't mean that. Yeah. I did just get a text from my friend about 10 minutes ago saying that she was going to be a little bit earlier. And it's 10:02 now.
I'm fine with calling it here if you want.
I'm just going to move Nimbar's token a little bit so you can see that the path goes in multiple directions to give you the real question on where to go and what to do. And what I'm also going to do is the same thing I did earlier. I'm going to take another screenshot of the maze as presently stands for the party's exploration and pop that into the Discord for the benefit of the other party members. Okay. And we'll have that for next week. But yeah, unless you wanted to do any more exploration, that'd be a good spot to cut off for the week.
Yeah, and then we wouldn't have made any major decisions without everyone else being here, so.
Exactly. And there's basically 3 routes to choose from at this point. And the ways you led to get to here was one of the spots that had a lot of walking, so. Yeah, I think you're spot on. Good spot probably for us to pause, Julie. Alrighty then.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you very much, Alan.
Oh, my
Thank you.
pleasure. And as always, unless there's any questions, I'll call it there and I'll pop up a recording on YouTube and I'll be good to go.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you
Sounds
again.
good. Thanks for the game.
My pleasure, everyone. We'll see you all next week. You have yourselves a good one.
Yes.
You as well.
See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.